of us in the Stepladder jerseys, we're all on the committee this weekend. You're also your tournament administrators. If you want to try to take something like that to your home centers, by all means, we're not trying to commandeer all the information. We would love to help you get it set up in your centers as well. Mention about our committee, this stuff doesn't happen without our committee. Members of our committee, Angie Erickson, Lindsay Benning, and Kelly Stein, they helped you with check-in last night and this morning. Everybody knows Coach Brandon Steen, and then myself. Like I said, we're the committee here. We're also in these Stepladder jerseys. We will be your help for this weekend. So if you have any problems, find somebody in one of the Stepladder jerseys. We'll have them on full today and tomorrow. We want to make it an enjoyable experience for parents, spectators, bowlers, everybody involved. So any issues, any hesitations, by all means, catch us and let us know. We'd also like to thank the proprietor here at Cadillac XBC, Rich Amy. For those that don't know, Rich was honored as the 2024 USBC Proprietor of the Year. So I know Rich isn't in the building this morning, but super cool honor for them and a real blessing for us here in the Cedar Valley to have Rich and the Bowlers Group owning the centers here in town. Also want to thank the GM here, Mr. Mick Hackbarth, and the staff here at Cadillac for hosting us this weekend. As you're in the building, take time to thank the people who are working. Like I say, we don't run these events. We can't run these events without a place to host them. So make sure they feel welcome as well. Show your appreciation to them. Raffle tickets. We'll be around selling raffle tickets this morning. Tickets are good for the entire weekend. We'll have one drawing tomorrow between qualifying and the finals. We've got a few nice prizes from our sponsors. The raffle table is down behind lanes 31 and 32. Storm Products was nice enough to donate us a ball of choice. We have a free, full customizable jersey courtesy of High Five. And we have an OGO cooler bag and a Carhartt duffel bag courtesy of ADS Recycling. The snack bar is offering a limited lunch selection. There are menus and pre-order forms, thank you, pre-order forms on the bar, kind of behind lanes 29 through 32. If you would like to pre-order lunch, grab one of those sheets, fill it out, get it to the snack bar by 11 o'clock, and they will have lunch for you ready for the break. So that way we don't overwhelm them at the break. So if you choose that option, grab the pre-order form, fill it out, take it up to the snack bar, get it paid for, and they will get your lunch ready so it's ready for the break. If you haven't listened to me so far, start listening now. This is the important stuff. Check-in is not required for each round. You can go straight to your round 2 starting lane assignments. We'll have lane assignments posted around the center. They'll be on a purple sheet during the block today. During the block this morning, we'll get the purple sheet up. That'll be your lane assignments for this afternoon. We'll start awards and announcements this afternoon at 2 o'clock, and practice will start at 2:15. So those are two important numbers. 2 o'clock for announcements this afternoon, 2:15 for practice. We still have the paddock down in the arcade. You're welcome to store equipment in there this afternoon, tonight, whenever. That room will be locked, so your equipment is safe in there overnight. One more talk about the walkways. We have to have a walkway all the way through the building due to fire code, so let's make sure that we keep an aisleway all the way from 36 all the way through lane 1. We normally do a really good job of that. There's a lot of room for equipment up underneath the counters. Spectators do the best you can. Like I say, just as long as we can get from one end of the house to the other. This morning we are going 5 games on the long pattern. Our skip will be skipping 2 pair, moving right. Your names and scores will follow you this morning. Please be courteous to your fellow competitors. Do not enter the bowl until the pair in front of you is complete. Scoring is on the pink sheets. All of your score sheets are pink. There is 1 score sheet per pair. If you're not familiar with Bowlmetrics, if you've never bowled a Bowlmetrics event, these are score sheets provided by Bowlmetrics. Make sure the score sheet goes with you. It's the bowler's responsibility to make sure the score is written down. You can designate somebody on the pair to write scores down, that's fine. It's the bowler's responsibility to make sure the score is written down and it's correct. And make sure you take it to the next pair. Leave it on the back counter. Since we use Bowlmetrics, it's easy to know where the score sheet is, and we can get scores updated really quickly if the score sheets are in a consistent place. Make sure they're filled out, make sure they move with you, make sure they're on the back counter. One last reminder is no electronics during competition, so no headphones, no cell phones, none of that stuff. If you have an Apple Watch, that's fine. I know that was asked a couple of times this morning. So Apple Watches are fine, smartwatches are good. No electronics during competition. No earbuds, no cell phones. Everybody's all amped up to go practice, right? We're not going to practice till 9:12. So go ahead and hang out for a couple of minutes here, and we'll get practice started here in just a few minutes.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. Good morning. All right, one more time. Welcome to Cadillac XBC in Waterloo, Iowa. Emil Williams Jr. here with you for the Midwest Youth Main Event, round number 3. It's the third consecutive year this tournament has taken off. We appreciate everybody for tuning in here as we get you set and underway. Thank you to the Youth Bowling Scholarship Foundation here in Waterloo. Fantastic foundation and what they have done for youth bowling in this area and for the state of Iowa is impressive, and it only continues to get better. If you can hear me, just wanted to stop in and let you know what's going to take place. Again, I dropped this in the chat, but practice will begin at about 9:15. It's about 4 minutes from now. Practice will begin. We will have, or the audio will be lowered. There will be music in the background, and YouTube is very, very tight on their copyright infringements. So just to keep that in mind for you. One more announcement being made by Matthew McConaughey. Emily Kringle is being honored way down on 29 and 30. I think we're honoring some past champions.
Our U18 boy from last year, Landon Jordan. And we are guaranteed to have a new U15 boys champion because this gentleman won both in the last 2 years. Anthony Swanson.
G won U18 on the left. Anthony Swanson won U15. In fact, back-to-back U15 consecutive. But he is in U18 now. All right, folks, we'll take a break. Bowling next here on Bowl Stream TV. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we are ready to rock and roll. Emil Williams Jr. here with you, and pleased to be joined very early to start off our day of coverage here from the Midwest Youth Main Event, Round 3. And when I say Round 3, it's a part of the event title. It is not Round 3, so I don't want you to get confused. But you see the theme on the logo, the boxing theme, if you will. So it is Round 3. I wonder what happens when we get to Round 12, or maybe even Round 15. We'll have to talk to Matthew and Brandon and Angie about that. But we welcome in Andy Belo.
Morning.
Who runs the wonderful restaurant called The Other Place, which is about 5 minutes from our location here. It's also a sponsor here of this tournament as well. Andy, good morning, and thank you for hopping on again, just like you did the last couple of years. We appreciate it.
Good morning, Emil. Thanks for having me. I'm happy to be here. This is such a great turnout. Really cool event to be part of, and see youth bowling doing as well as it is. So there's a lot of talent here just walking up and down watching practice. It's pretty impressive.
I think with any tournament, you would anticipate, or certainly hope, right? The hope, and that's why you put in the work as the talent continues to improve, which means, the tournament's still going, the word is continuing to spread, and I think that's exactly what's happening here with this tournament. And even in the first year, there's plenty of talent, but, now nationally, there are more and more youth bowlers starting to make the trip out to Waterloo, like Ridgely Potter Jr., for example. He's on the bottom right of your screen. He's from Florida, but the Potter family tends to travel to a lot of tournaments. They don't mess around with youth bowling.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Taking a look at lanes 23 to 26. Those will kind of be the main, and then at the bottom right of your screen, we've got 19 to 22. And then periodically, we'll also check in on 13 through 16 and see what's going on down there. If there is a particular young bowler that you are looking for, those are the lanes that essentially we'll be able to kind of find and peruse through. But primarily, we'll be around 23 to 26, 19 to 22 in some capacity. So on your screen now, we've got Carter Chase, Alexandra Cady. I believe that's Melanie Bursch. On the left of your screen, Kylie Kirshner, Dawson Cole to the right. We were talking about growth spurts, and Dawson and his sister Addison have just talked about height, and they have height in the family. So Andy, when you watch, when you see our youth bowling here, and you obviously are from the area, so you know what the talent is like, and you're seeing these young players like a Rushton obviously put in the work. But when you look at it now, just to comparison maybe even a couple of years ago, how improved is it all around?
Yeah, this is being the third year, you start to see some familiar faces, and just to see the knowledge, you can see like it's all starting to connect the dots, like even from the mental side. Obviously physically these kids are, these young adults are getting bigger and stronger, and and growth spurts start to slow down, coordination starts to pick up, and things like that. But just approaches and surfaces on bowling balls, and where they're starting and where they're playing, and the angles that they're trying to put on the lane. It's just the knowledge that this generation of youth bowlers has compared to myself, 30 years ago when I'm this age with some of these people. They're so far ahead of where we were, or at least I was. I'm sure there were some people that had a pretty good idea at 15, 16, 18 years old. But I mean, just across the board, even seeing the under 50, the youth 15s that are playing the lanes properly,
right,
doing things the right way. It's just obviously opportunity, experience. They're getting exposed to a lot tougher conditions at a lot younger age, and it's really cool to see.
Alexander Huntley finishing up. Let's take a quick look at the lane pattern the players are bowling on after that shot. That's a good one from Nathan Sisko. There it is on the right of your screen. 50 feet. This is the long pattern. So 3 patterns for this tournament in varying lengths. This is the long pattern. The short pattern will be this afternoon at 2 p.m. Central, and then the medium pattern will take place tomorrow morning at 8 a.m., 5 games on each. And then we'll have the finals at about noon-ish Central Time tomorrow. When you think long patterns just in general, it is 50 feet, 24.8 mils. I think we commented yesterday, we saw a lot of players kind of playing them similarly, meaning they were playing the long and the short pattern in a similar fashion, which you don't necessarily anticipate. But going back to the knowledge you were just talking about, you know, young adults, young kids have figured out ways to be comfortable and play in the same part of the lane all the time.
Yeah, this, just looking at the pattern there that you had, you know, it's definitely designed, I think, for some multiple angles. There's some built-in taper on the outside, even though obviously the pattern 50 feet and you see people playing the gutter. You know, obviously the pattern, the house, the topography, whatever it is, you know, is allowing the ball to slow down on the outside portion of the lane. So be anxious to see towards the end of the block what, you know, those that are way out, when they start to migrate a little left, I think we may see them make the big jump in. All of a sudden that second arrow kind of gets a little over under, you know, you got either got to be left of it or you got to be right of it, kind of a thing. So we'll hope to see how things play out, though. It'll be interesting to see.
Seeing some variations of urethane usage out early, again, near the gutter.
Yeah, seeing a lot of bigger ASIMs, bigger symmetrics with some surface, you know, just tighter angles to the front part of the lane, which, I mean, makes obviously a lot of sense. Do you see a little bit of polish? I was kind of curious, see if maybe some people that wanted to start a little more in, if they had a little more shine on the ball to get it to shape up down lane a little bit.
Again, good morning to everyone. If you're just joining us, Emil Williams Jr. with Andy Belo runs the other place, which if you are local or ever in Waterloo or even in the surrounding areas, you should make sure you visit him. He's at the one on Ridgeway, right across the street from Waterloo West High School. Tells you how much I've been here now. That I know how to get there without a GPS.
That's right.
At least from the bowling.
That's right.
I know exactly how to get there.
Car just drives itself from Cadillac right up there.
Appreciate all of the sponsors. ADS Recycling, the title sponsor of this year's event. Of course, H5G, handling a lot of apparel and the unique jerseys for the first 3 events now. The Greater Cedar Valley USBC, Experience Waterloo, Roto Grip, who many players got a bowling ball with their entry this year as well. And we'll go all of our sponsors throughout the day. Seen some good carry around us already, which is always a good sign.
Pin decks here, sidewalls are lively. There's always pin action is not an issue here at Cadillac.
Always the kind of subtle nuances that you look at or look for in the center when you go bowl a tournament, and especially, you know, when you sit in kind of one spot for a weekend, you start to notice certain things, trends. Sometimes, and you can tell early that carry is actually going to be an issue, but at least on the long pattern. And as Andy just mentioned, favorable carry here at Waterloo, or excuse me, at Cadillac.
Yeah. Both centers here in town, they take good care of the machines and the lanes and everything, and obviously sidewalls and flat gutters are something that they do keep a focus on to make sure that you're getting, you know, they want pin action. They want people to knock pins over here in Waterloo. They invest in it and they take good care of everything. So it helps.
That's right, the Amy family.
Yes.
Rich was actually named the proprietor of the year. I can't remember if it was this year, 2024, or 2023, but he was honored at I believe the USBC convention. And that's a huge honor, obviously, right? A lot of bowling centers, a lot of proprietors, and so when you're honored as the person for a year, that really speaks volumes. Moo Cole, just in the bottom right of your screen, has the front 4. on this long pattern. In fact, when she's up, we're going to go back and watch her because, just talking about who's playing them and how they're playing them on the long pattern. Back in the day, quote unquote, when you heard long pattern, you would instantly think, 15, third arrow, fourth arrow, and to some degree, it still can be true. If you were to utilize the rule of 31 and subtract 31 from the length of the pattern, of course, you'd be in that fourth arrow zone by that rule. But pretty clearly early on, and even during the practice, that you can play out. And even to some degree use it to your advantage, because so far, I'm not seeing a ton of over-under.
No, I think with the longer buff on the pattern, it just blends out a little bit better. And kudos to them, even though it's the long pattern, you still allow multiple angles to be played where you're not making everybody go to one zone on the lane, and that's, I think, for a lot of tournament directors, and Joe Engelkiss here in town he's in Waterloo but runs the Greater Iowa Bowling Association. That's always something that they're talking about. They don't want it to be where, well, if you throw the ball this way, you're going to do better than everybody else.
Right.
And whether that's left-handed, right-handed, two-handed, whatever it is. Where I think anytime you have a challenging pattern that allows for multiple angles, I think that's a goal for the majority of bowling tournaments. I think so. Yeah, to see the gutter playing like this on a 50-foot pattern is pretty wild.
Well, I tell you, in my prime, as I like to say, I'd be chomping at the bit to bowl this long pattern.
Yeah.
I would be right out there with the rest of these players.
Now myself, without just seeing that it was 50 foot, I would have been in the middle. Yeah, I would have been in there. And that's fine. That's great though, And I saw a couple people was walking around during practice. There are some people that are a little farther in, and they had a good look. So. Like I said, I'm really anxious to see how the pattern transitions, because with a lot of surface and a lot of people playing out, that buff at the end of the pattern is going to get ate up real quick by the surface, and then are they able to move in and feed to what they developed, or is that now too flat,
right,
and too much friction, and then we'll see what happens.
Just got a good look at Moo Cole. She can play the gutter very well, and she's coming kind of right off the corner. And she now has the front five. Dawson Cole will be up here momentarily on the right of your screen.
I think he just 9-pinned.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
Double 9 spare strike, split 9-pin. Take a look at Micah Jensen. You got that one right, bottom right of your screen there. You got a good break. He'll take that 5-pin.
No surprise, Gianna seems to be quite comfortable already.
Yeah, let's just take a quick look.
Yeah.
Down there at, I didn't even see G right there. Yeah, there she is.
She was rightish in practice. I haven't seen her since the lights came on, but
yeah, G, who just won a cool $60,000.
Right. That was awesome. That was fun to watch.
The LBC Clash on national television. Ended up defeating essentially a Chris Prather in the finals.
And I mean, two of the better releases in the game right now. Between those two, yeah, that was fun to watch. Once she settled in, she made that look pretty easy. She made a lot of really, really good shots.
Yeah, and for those that are unfamiliar with that, there's Eason Taylor, another individual who can throw it so good. G right on cue.
Making us look smart.
Putting all 10 down. It was a one-ball event, meaning it was like a best ball, basically, is what the format was. And I don't remember the number of competitors, but it probably was around 10-ish, maybe a little bit more. All of the division winners from the PBA LBC essentially were invited, and then best ball wins. So lowest count basically of each round was eliminated, and they just kept on going until Gianna Brandolino stood alone. It was a really good event.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. It was good. That was good television.
It was. Yeah. It really was. And sometimes when you taped events, you just sometimes it's great. Sometimes it could be a little bit iffy because it's not live. But man, that was perfect. They could not have drawn that up any better.
And, I believe it was in Portland. Is that right?
Correct. Portland, Maine. And the venue.
Yeah, great event, great venue, great format. It was fast-paced. It moved along really well. I mean, that was they knocked out. That was a home run there. They did really well on that.
Nice split conversion there. 3-6-7-10 for Addison Cole. So although she stops the strike string, she remains clean. So we're seeing strikes and split conversions early from our young competitors here. Mentioned Micah Jensen. Take a look at Micah here. And talking about using a little bit of maybe not polish, but certainly shine.
Correct.
And Micah's ball speed probably a little bit slower, and so that additional shine to his equipment helps get down the lane a little bit better. Got to meet Micah's parents, get to know them pretty well last year at this event. Maybe they make the trip from the Dakotas, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Good back at Burish. Oh, wow, yeah. Eason Taylor.
Huh. He didn't like it for about a second, and then it worked out great.
Eason with the carry of the 7-10 there. That's great. That's Brandolino, bottom right. And your hair slow. Got a chance to talk to her mom, Julie, this morning. PBA released a video of Julie and her husband, Jim, right? The parents,
yes,
as Gianna was about to step up for the final shot, basically the winning shot, and the pacing that Mrs. Brandolino was doing. But if you know her, that's completely on brand. Like, that's exactly what I expected her to be doing. And once I saw the video, I'm like, oh yeah, that's her. Like, certain moments. And I understand it as a parent. Now, we're both parents now. Great shot from Cole on the bottom right of your screen. I eagerly anticipate where I'm just going to be doing the up and down too. Probably can't watch for a couple frames at a time or whatever sport it is.
Oh, wow.
Wow, that was a tough break there.
Half pocket, 6-7.
I was recently at an event where we saw a lot of half pocket 6-pin leaves. That particular event, it had something to do with like the 3-pin was kind of slightly offset, so
sure.
it created some interesting leaves every now and then.
Yeah.
That one was just a tough break.
That was odd. Usually, myself and guys with the higher rev rates, when I leave a 6-pin, one or two a year, usually it's you miss out wide and down the lane on something a little longer, and the ball just comes in a little sideways. But that ball had surface on it, that faced up. That was odd. I wondered the same thing, maybe something off spot or something.
Miles Jungian. Oh, nice spare of Miles. That was well done. See players at varying skill levels too, which was really the other cool thing I liked about this tournament and its location. Talking to Coach Dean and Matthew, Angie, wanting to bring an event like this to the area to give the local youth some opportunities to really be challenged, and they've taken full advantage.
Yeah, I think a lot of it was, they were going to Junior Gold and going to the USBC Junior National. I can't remember that. So the youth championships.
Youth Open, Junior Gold.
And kids, the locals going out and being frustrated, not having the experience, not having been through enough of that. And so it was like, well, what were they going to do about it? So they started coming up with some stuff here locally, and obviously it's paying off. You got a young gentleman like Rush Dean that's local here, that's on the Storm Evolution staff now, went and bowled the Lucky Larson over in Sweden.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I mean, what a huge opportunity. Yeah.
Eason generally has no trouble getting his ball to hook.
And that's kind of what I was talking about when, they were up the outside, they could get it to hook. There, he's in a little bit farther left trying to shape it, throwing it to that spot, and then it just kind of wiggled on him down lane a little bit.
And Addison Johnson. There's two Addisons, by the way, on 19 and 20. Addison Cole and Addison Johnson. And Addison's thrown two really good shots these last couple of frames. For a moment, I thought she was going to still lead the 6-pin with that.
I think Addison is going to be very excited to get up 19 and 20 here in a couple frames. That's two really good shots that she's had not much reward for.
We can see Rush Dean just to our left on the left of your screen right now. Kind of the divider, if you will, which separates 1 through 18. But Rush is just on the other side of that to the left. Looks like he's throwing it pretty good. And he's near or in the track going up to the lane. And so not obviously what we just talked about with Eason, but almost in a similar situation where you got to make sure the angle's right through the front just to increase carry.
I'm wondering if we won't see Rush be one of the first people to maybe start migrating a little left. He's got just such a heavy ball roll, and that ball's shaping for him. It looks okay, and it's just not going through the pins. So maybe a little angle change.
See how Eason will play this one, and then we'll head back over to 23 for a moment. Carter over there putting together a nice game. He's got a couple of splits. He's throwing a Black Widow pink urethane. It's a really good shot.
Eason's got some personality here with these leaves. I like it. I like it.
Got to know Eason and his family pretty well with our work in the Elite Youth Tour, which is a youth tournament, or youth tour, excuse me, ran by Deandra Asbeatty in the Chicagoland area.
Sure. Ashlyn there, Tevis, says she throws the ball really well.
Oh, yeah.
Really well.
Ridgely Potter Jr. Ridgely, shoot, did he, I don't remember if he won junior gold? Finished second, maybe, but he was on the show.
Okay.
Just trying to remember the year. Yeah, I think he finished second in 2022. I felt like he made another show in recent years, but he's exceptional. By the way, folks, if you are Again, looking for your favorite bowler. We do have live scoring here at Cadillac, courtesy of Lane Talk. So drop that for you so you can keep an eye on your favorite player.
Looked like Gianna made a nice move there, might have bumped in just a little bit and a little more angle through the front part of the lane and just split the 8-9 there on the last shot. So
Drop that link below. Again, live scoring. That is certainly the best way. All right, just one channel, of course, and we try to keep you as updated as possible on everything that's happening, certainly within the lanes that we can feature. But live scoring is the other way to keep, not the other place, because that's Andy's place, but the other way. Keep an eye on your favorite bowler. Seeing some opportunities just down on the low end. Looks like maybe some 250, 260s down there out the gates. Talked about Carter leaving a wrapped in frame 9. Here he is, 10th frame left of your screen. Wow.
yeah,
Whew. He wasn't quite sure about it, but the result certainly said it all. Now I'm wondering if he wasn't quite sure, if he missed a little bit in on that.
so I was kind of waiting to see what this shot looked like, but yeah, he looked like he was looking for a little help and he got it. So
What's that feeling like, Andy? When you,
but if anything, it should hopefully free up the swing and give him some confidence that he's in the right part of the lane and his ball's matching up. You know, that's all. I think that's what we all want to do, is create a little room for ourselves. So now that ball was a little straighter, so actually I think he actually might have missed a little right on that last shot. That one was more about 10 to 7. Didn't quite get out, maybe 5 like it did the last shot.
Sure.
So he seemed to like that one a little bit more.
quick replay at the first shot. This is the one where we thought maybe he missed left. Just watch the release. I mean, that's about as clean as you can get.
Yeah, that's probably three boards farther right down the lane than what the second shot in the 10th was. So
Phil shot.
that might have been a little grabby, I think, at the bottom.
Not a bad start for Carter, 201. And if you look at the game in general, again, just hampered by a couple of splits. That's 230, 240 right there, with just a makeable spare in those frames. And then there's Nathan Sisko. I remember Nathan from last year. I just don't remember his story, but I do remember him.
Nice game.
Very solid, 230 plus. We'll get you back to Moo Cole here in just a second. She's in the 260s.
She is rolling right now. And Addison got all 10. As Johnson got all 10 to go down on the shot finally. Yeah, so she's got a couple of breaks coming her way, I think.
A little bit of hold on the other side there for Rush off camera. Watch Addison, left of your screen. Again, right off the corner. Oh, what a break.
Perfect. Only good shot strike, right?
Oh, the 6 into the 10 that time. Great shot again from Addison Johnson. The scores are a little different, but the amount of quality shots that both Addisons have thrown on 19 and 20 is very good. Good example of sometimes the score does not indicate or dictate how well you did throw it. But in Addison Cole's case, she threw it great just about the entire time. Nice game.
Yes. Your everyday 273.
Love a good 273.
Love it.
Well, let's get you back to G. My apologies there. Great shot. she can do so much.
That release is so good. I could just. We were joking on one of the local dads, Davin Smith's dad. He's bowling with John today. And
Yeah, he's got a 4-bagger too.
Yeah, and we. Davin just below, just Davin. But I'm like, her first 2 shots were probably better than anything I'll throw all year. And she's just getting loose. And I'm like, yeah, it's impressive. It's very, very impressive.
9-pin there, so G can get into spare, give her to 198.
Oh, really nice shot by Mikey.
Like it's going to be in the 230s, or in the 230s, excuse me, 238 specifically. The spare in the 10th frame. Folks, if you wouldn't mind to share, certainly hit the thumbs up as well, but please share. Love to get this in front of as many people as we can today and certainly tomorrow. Again, the short pattern, 5 games, coming up this afternoon. In the game 1 traffic jam.
Yeah.
Charlie Wiedemeyer. Good shot.
She got all 6 of them.
Devin Titus. Oh, you're right. There's a Devin and Davin on the same lane. This is my favorite part sometimes of youth bowling is it doesn't matter, like, you know, here it's after game 1 or, you know, just as players are finishing up. Certainly before we started, there's always a group of players and they get together and they just talk about bowling. Like you can hear that, like Ridgely's talking to Josh Weems and Eason and Addison Cole about what they've left and what happened at this frame and all of the above. It's like the adult version for us, like at league, when we were telling that story how we could have had X, Y, and Z score, but
absolutely
4 things happened that prevented it.
We usually don't talk about the really good breaks that we had throughout the game. It's more of the 9-pin or the 7-pin that I left that cost me this, and yeah.
Davin finishing up along with Cody Guile. Last pair to finish up will be, looks like one of them will be 17 and 18. A couple of field shots to go on the low end. Looks like Addison Cole, they're headed down to 25 and 26. There is a 2-board skip. Hello to the Henrikspire family. A nice well wish and a good luck to all of the players. That's right, Trey was in attendance these first 2, but he is off to bigger and better things at Wichita State. I got a chance to see Trey actually last week in Oklahoma. He was bowling the Oklahoma, the PBA OKC Southwest Regional. All right, game 1 is officially now done here in the books. We'll keep it here. Paige Rawlings will get us started. Oh, that's a quality shot.
Yeah.
Right out the gates. Emil Williams Jr. with Andy B. Low. Andy, how long do I have you for today?
Till you kick me out of the booth.
Okay. Rush shot what I thought was a very good 182.
Yeah, I think he missed the one single pin, but outside of that, I mean, that might have been about the only bad shot he threw the whole game for 182.
There are some, or there is one pinned link in the chat, and it is the results link courtesy of Bowl Metrics. So, and Bowl Metrics does update in real time. Keep that in mind as you peruse the scores, certainly once we really get into the tournament. Sebi Vetter. Vetter. We got Nick Sachs also here on 19 and 20. Mason Loria. The group over on 21 and 22. And then we will see the group on 17 and 18 move down to 23 and 24. So we'll take a look at that pair as well. If you have any questions about the event, the tournament, please let us know. If there's an answer that can't get to you, I'll certainly find it out for you.
Always like to see, especially after the first game, what, does anybody get they can throw a quality shot and get a completely different ball reaction than the pair they were just on. And so far, it looks like everybody's been pretty close. Haven't seen anybody turn around with did I go to a different bowling center look on their face,
Oh, okay. Well, I think Addison Cole put down a nice blueprint.
Yes, I think the Addisons, they might have burned a little something nice in there for him. Looks like maybe a DNA that she's throwing there. Paige is throwing on those last shots, and she seemed quite, seemed like exactly what she expected. So that's good.
Skylar Petts over on 21 and 22. I believe she made the finals in U15 girls last year. Adam Sellers is over there. Karsten Guess also on 21 and 22. You mentioned Ashlyn Tevich. I want to take a look at her in just a moment. I think one of the, certainly one of the really good youth players, period, in the U18 division, but just in regards to lefties in particular, really good. Yeah, I think I just saw that she's now in the official visit mode as far as colleges go. I think she was took a trip to Mount Mercy on the way here for practice and such yesterday.
Yeah, just looking around and you saw her throwing some shots, and I was like, okay, yeah, yep, that's good. Like, that's how you're supposed to do it. Yes.
I just saw, Jackson Vieri. He's off camera. Well, you're talking about a little bit of rev rate and being able to shape it on this long pattern. Well, you might want to watch out for Jackson. He looks like high scores could be following him pretty quickly here. Last time I saw Sebi Vetter, he picked up the 710.
Oh, nice.
That was last month. What month is this? We're in October.
This is October, yeah.
Shoot. Yeah, last month, September, at the Elite Youth Tour Battle Royale. Picked up the 710 early, too. I think it was game one. Paige will need a little help. And what in the world?
What is going on lane 19? I don't even know how that happened. I don't even know if a slow-mo replay will explain what just happened.
She was going to get a good break. And I guess ultimately she still got one. Technically.
I don't know if I've ever seen a stone 8 on a Brooklyn like that. Like,
and so I mentioned earlier with the last week I saw there was some pocket 6 hits, and actually I saw the same thing last week. I guess if you were to say, are the odds of seeing that type of leave 2 weeks in a row?
Yeah.
I don't know what the odds were, but I've now exceeded such odds. Let's see if we can pinpoint here what went down. See if we can see what happens here. Let's see.
The 5-pin had to go straight back. That's the only thing.
Wow. Ball just completely missed. I might need to see that again.
You know, the only thing I could think is maybe with the longer pattern, the ball still had a little bit more energy than what we're used to seeing. So it was a little, had a little more hook still maybe down the lane. So.
Oh, no Brooklyn 8-pin on that one from Clark Bonnewell.
No, sir.
That was 10 back. Get out of the way. We are in game 2. Again, long pattern. Switched it up a little bit this year. Previous 2 years, the short pattern was the first. This year is the long pattern. And that might actually be a good thing for the players, because last year's short pattern was actually really difficult. That was one that you didn't expect it to actually play as difficult as it did, but boy, did it. Sebi Vetter, another good shot. He starts with 3 in a row. Sebi could, there's a lot of players that have an opportunity, obviously, to win this tournament. But I've seen Sebi enough to know that he's got a chance to come away with victory here.
Sure. Yeah, he's got a great look right now, that is for sure. Looks like there might be starting to see a little earlier friction here on this with all the bowlers that started out to the right, throwing a lot of surface, even on the 50-foot pattern. But as those balls start to hook early and slow down, it's going to be really interesting to see here when they migrate left. Or are they just going to maybe try and ball down and stay in that same zone?
21 and 22 with a couple of 3-baggers as well. One of them was Josh Sachs. Well, he can play. His brother Nick is actually bowling on 19 and 20. I believe their parents are here this weekend. I saw their dad. Andy, if you had these opportunities, and maybe you did, but maybe not to this extent, but like put yourself back in the youth bowler mode, but with today's knowledge and resources and, of course, technology, just from the equipment perspective. Give me a couple of things that, like maybe that you've learned in the last, decade or so, that you say, man, if I had this as a youth bowler, I would be the greatest bowler of all time.
I definitely think how to be softer with your hand without necessarily giving up revolution. Necessarily not softer without having to necessarily play straight.
It's like touch.
Yeah, okay. Absolutely, and just more forward. I think less tilt. Because I think at this age, when like I said, 25 years ago, it was okay. I'm just going to get more and move left, or move right and make it hook, kind of a thing. Right. So obviously, bowling balls were a little different. They don't, they weren't, resin. By the time I was a senior in high school, for example, resin was very prevalent. I mean, we were probably getting into the carrying 3 or 4 bowling balls to a tournament phase, not necessarily, what you see now when when you're bowling on 3 different patterns like this, a lot of times, you almost have to have a bag for each pattern, for some of these bowlers. So, but yeah, definitely, the touch part of it, and probably more just understanding too of just basic bowling ball design, whether it be symmetric, asymmetric, and back then there wasn't really any hybrids yet. Obviously there was pearls and solids, and that was really about it. But core numbers and RGs, you knew a little bit, but it wasn't nearly as important, I think, with what it is, or as focused on as it is. It probably was as important.
Right.
We just didn't focus on it as much.
Nice conversion there for Nick Sachs. The core and diff numbers something that to a degree, I still don't really pay attention to. And I don't bowl a ton, so let me just get that out there. But recently, I would say in the last few years, and especially covering a lot of professional bowling, you know, those numbers are very important at that level. Just listen to the conversations, and then you take away a nugget here and a nugget there, and you go, oh. And then you go look at a bowling ball's numbers, and it makes sense, right? You know, why this ball is a high G or high RG or low RG based on what it does, the characteristics that you actually see on the lane. Great shot again from Paige, and it starts to all make sense. So you are, now I don't want to date you here.
No, it's all right.
But did you make it into the 80s from our years of birth?
Yes, I was born
Early
I was born in 80.
Right. That's what I thought. All right.
Yes.
So, yeah, when you said the 4, you know, we started taking 4 balls. I'm like, yeah, I kind of remember those days. Like, yeah, the 2 ball doesn't work anymore. Like, you need 4.
Yes. But, yeah, I think I remember, so Eric Liddick, coach at St. Ambrose, obviously the Greater Iowa Scholarship Bowling Tour was really emerging back then. Actually, when I first started bowling, I don't think he was even running them yet. I think the Nords, Wendy Nord out of Davenport, Scott Wollen's parents were involved back then a little bit. And then obviously Eric kind of came on, you know, once I was probably a couple years in, I think. At least I remember when getting to know him. But yeah, there was, you know, a lot of all around Iowa, a little bit, you know, a little bit into Illinois with the Quad Cities there, but, you know, doing a lot of those tournaments. And you know, all of a sudden you remember the first time you saw somebody with 2 triple bags when they walked in. It's like, this guy must be a pro. Like, what's going on? You know, I think my first finals I ever made in one of those tournaments. I'll you know, obviously you remember, and I had it was a combat zone, a Purple Rhino Pro, and then the fire, was it the Firestorm, the orange Firestorm, the Pearl. You know, that was my 3-ball arsenal, and I thought I had the world figured out at that with those 3 bowling balls. I was ready to go.
Take a quick look at 23 to 26. There's Rushteen actually on cue. He's got a 3-bagger. Rush will make that 4, of course. Rush's dad, Brandon, part of the Youth Bowling Scholarship Foundation, responsible for the creation of this tournament.
And an outstanding coach.
Yes, he is.
Very good high school program here at Waterloo West that you had mentioned. Obviously, been Rush's coach. You know, fundamentally, Rush is very, very sound. You know, but they've worked at it. They've worked really hard at it for a long time. So, but no, Brandon is very, very smart, very knowledgeable. Works with a lot of youth bowlers in town. He's very passionate with them. He does a really nice job.
Kennick Robinson also on this pair. We mentioned Ashlyn Tevis. Here she is. Looks like she's throwing maybe something a little bit different than she was in game 1. No, same ball.
I think it's still a Widow 3.0, I believe. Yes.
Same ball. This looks a little different from this angle.
Yeah, and there's Story Kennick Robinson. His dad and I bowled against each other in junior tournaments.
Wow.
He's from the Cedar Rapids area, Mike. Now he's got one son at Ambrose, and obviously I'm not exactly sure how old Kennick is, but you know, obviously still high school aged, but throws the ball really well.
Kennick is in the U15 division.
You know, and the same with Addison Cole and Dawson Cole. Their dad, he bowled. We were from the same hometown in Dubuque, Iowa.
Oh, really?
And so we bowl. Yeah, I'm I think 2 or 3 years older than he is, but yeah, you know, bowling a lot of junior stuff at the same time. You know, and I'm officially at that age where the people I used to bowl junior bowling tournaments against, their kids are now bowling this tournament. So
that's great.
Yeah, it is. It's cool.
Little There'll be some $1,500 scholarships awarded this week, folks, for first place. And that's actually up from the previous 2 years of this tournament, where they awarded $1,000 to the winners, along with some very cool championship belts, of course. But, you know, those types of scholarship prizes you don't see very often. And so when they're out there, it's another reason why you get a vast audience, players and parents willing to travel. Because, you know, the opportunity to earn $1,500.
Man, great opportunity. You get to bowl on, you know, Bowl Stream TV here. You've got college coaches in attendance. I mean, the exposure, the knowledge, the experience. It's a great opportunity. And those that obviously, you know, talking about you got a family from Florida, but obviously I think most everybody else probably drove and, you know, are a couple hours away. And, you know, with the explosion of college bowling and the opportunities there, you know, to get an education, hopefully maybe get some scholarship money and get it paid for. Man, just a cool sport. It's a cool thing that's going on. And events like this then really rock it and take it off. And, you know, that's why you know, as a bowler and then obviously as a local business owner, you know, being able to support and be part of this and, you know, help continue to give back to the sport that, you know, is giving us, you know, myself and you and all of us so much. It's just cool. It's a really neat thing to see, and hopefully more stuff like this continues to pop up around the country.
About halfway through game 2. Again, make sure you utilize the live scoring link and keep track, keep an eye on your favorite bowler until they reach a live streaming pair. If there is a particular player that you have in mind that you're looking for, or at least would like to know when they might be on camera, please let me know. I'd be happy to look them up for you and let you know what games they might be featured here on Bowl Stream TV. Sebi has gone front 3, 9 spare, strike 9 spare if Lori is watching. And Seb's still in the bottom right of your screen. Again, bottom right now features 19 to 22. And I apologize, I've been noticing a little bit of a flicker on that camera, which typically means I might need to run and go buy a new cable. The joys of technology, but that's part of the job. Those are the things that don't happen when you set up, right? But when you get here in the morning, it's like, oh, you decided to do that today. Mr. Bonnewell, we'll get back to 19 and 20 in a moment because a couple of them putting up some really good score here.
So are you, Emil, seeing, obviously, as much as you travel for work and getting to do stuff like this, are you I mean, obviously I know how prevalent bowling is in the Midwest in this part of the country, but assuming you're seeing similar type explosions around the rest of the part of the country?
Yeah, I think so. I think, yeah, the Midwest has kind of just always been a great hotbed. You know, I think the West Coast also has always been a hotbed, but just no one really gets an opportunity to, in the grand scheme, you know, to either know or go out there. But, you know, tours like the JAT, JBT, all of those tours, I get a chance to work with Jeff Hemer a lot, and he's been at the helm of one of those tours for almost 30 years, I think. And so there's plenty of youth bowling on the West Coast. Good. I think PBA Junior has been a great addition. That's been, I think, taken very seriously by the players. The opportunity to be featured again on national TV, win a national title, another one, obviously Junior Gold, of course. No shortage, Teen Masters. A lot of the tournaments that have been around since our youth days, now, of course, you know, triple, quadruple in capacity and entries and size. Youth bowling is alive and well. I mean, it truly is.
Agreed.
You can go just about everywhere, generally speaking, and you know, find something to bowl maybe twice a weekend. So I think there's, you know, probably a couple tournaments, you know, one on Saturday, and you can stay in a particular area, bowl on Sunday, really get the value, if you will.
See Addison Cole here on 25 has found some more friction from what she had here in 19 and 20. So, you know, just from watching a few shots here and watching them down there, really wondering if we're not seeing maybe a little hold on 19 and 20. And it seems like now down on this pair, the balls are really picking up and getting going down lane there.
And that's one of those things where you have to keep in mind always who you follow.
100%.
So, you know, not trying to remember who was on that pair, but, you know, a little bit of urethane over there on that pair, you know, a little bit more rev rate maybe, perhaps, right? And so,
or even where they started.
Right.
You know, maybe if they started a little farther right on 19 and 20 and the pair just kind of opened up a little bit nicer, and that pair down there, maybe the gutter didn't look as good in practice and people got pushed in outside a little bit. So, yeah, there's the variables of this sport are just, you know, and that's obviously why you move after each game. It just blends it out, and you know, there's good pairs and there's bad pairs, and what you might be a good pair for you is a bad pair for me, and vice versa. You know, there's just, it's the great equalizer, that is for sure.
we love good pairs.
Yes. You know, so local knowledge, funny thing is typically 23 and 24 historically has probably been a pair that a lot of your league bowlers, when they walk in and see they're on that pair that night, kind of hang their head a little bit, you know, and you hope. But I think over the last couple of years with our proprietor of the year, Rich, and his crew, I think they've done enough on that pair to kind of get things situated maybe a little bit better. But, you know, and then you watch, you know, you've seen some really nice shots. Rush has had 0 issues on that pair. You know, so yeah, it's just funny. You know, it's just.
I think Zach's bottom right of your screen that the finish for 19 and 20 is coming up soon, as well as 21 and 22. Let's take a look at bowl metrics here quickly, and an opportunity to see what scores we had early on. U15 boys, Ridgely Potters 225 led the way. And U15 girls, Leah Bisevic, and boy, she's been bowling really good on the Elite Youth Tour. Won a couple of titles in the last few months. She starts out with 209, and that's the higher score by a good margin early on. And U18 boys, and as you would expect, that division is just jam-packed with players and talent. Quinn Thomas, 266. Anthony Swanson, who won the first 2 U15 boys titles of this event. Of course, now in U18, so there will be a new U15 champion. Swanson shoots 247. Landon Jordan, who just committed to SCAD, he and his brother Griffin are both bowling here this week. He shot 238. Landon did. Micah shot 238. We watched Micah shoot that on 19 and 20. Nathan Cisco's 237. Actually, Cisco, I think, was on 25 and 26. We're talking about just the change in how that pair was set up. Jackson Beery, 223. Makes a lot of sense. I talked about Jackson coming over here on 17 and 18. He had a good start, 220. There 16 players or plus in U18 boys. And then in U18 girls out the gates, we watched Addison Coles, 273. Emily Kringle, 204. Allison Roberts, 203. Abby Starkey, who just won U18 girls, the U18 girls title at the Bone Family Scholarship Tournament, which is another great event, actually. Speaking of other great tournaments, she won the U18 girls title, I think last week, maybe 2 weeks ago. So good stuff there from Abby. U18 girls is also a very, very good division.
Yes. Yeah, I remember Abby Starkey from the last couple of years that she very, very solid, very, very good game.
She is committed to the University of Nebraska. I think we talked about this. You did not bowl collegiate. correct?
I did not. I came to school here locally at University of Northern Iowa, and they did not have a bowling program. So.
Knowing what you know now, and I don't know what your academic goals were right at that time. Would you have tried to pursue college bowling? And not that you did, but just with the way the college bowling world works currently. What school was you might have wanted to go to?
Really only knew about, probably Wichita and Nebraska where, back then.
Right. I should make sure I iterate that it was a much different landscape in the early 2000s as compared to the 2020s.
Yeah, I don't even know. I don't ever remember even seeing a college coach at a junior grader Iowa probably until I was already in college.
And there was no St. Ambrose. There was no Mount Mercy at the time.
Correct. So, yeah, and, besides bowling that scholarship tour, we weren't really traveling, going around outside of those. So the exposure wasn't really there. And I was solid. I was a good youth bowler, but I wasn't quite with as small as the options were. I was not at that level to be able to do something like that. So in this landscape nowadays, absolutely. I mean, I would have loved to have done it. Don't get me wrong. I think that would have been. That would have been a really cool experience, and all the guys that for example, I think we've talked about my crew that we go to the USBC national tournament with. Almost all are college bowlers, whether it was Whitewater or Wichita State guys. So even some Illinois State, things like that. Jason Jones is my doubles partner. Ironically, one of my best friends in the world. We've never lived in the same town, ever. But we met bowling the Junior Grader Iowa scholarship tour, and, we hang out and talk, our families get together, and, and I go down there and stay with him for some tournaments. He comes up here and stays at tournaments and go bowl, on the national tour, national tournament together. So, through bowling, became great friends, and we've never lived closer than 4 hours with each other.
That's great.
It's just such a cool thing.
That's a great story.
Yeah.
Well, now your teams might shuffle up now in 2026 with the
new
rules.
The group text started going.
It blew up.
Yeah. So bowling with Chris Drewis and Jesse Buss, they are now eligible. They can bowl doubles together if if that all
works. That's dangerous. There's. That's an eagle.
Yeah, we've had no fun with that at all, being able to in our group chat. But yeah, kudos to USBC. I think they're making some smarter decisions. Not smarter, but just smart decisions, smart changes. In trying to make the tournament better. The adjustments to the averages. I think 10 years post Junior Team USA. I think that's a fair change. Chris Drewis, obviously, like he said, I had one really good weekend. Obviously, he bowled at Wichita State, so obviously he's very talented.
Right.
He's like, I had a great weekend and made Junior Team USA, and now I can't, bowl with my friend until we're 60, up until now 26. So I think it's a right change.
I agree.
It's good for the tournament.
They did the right thing. You know who else did the right thing? Page.
Yes.
Who shot 225. I'm gonna give a replay here of Page's shot after Clark takes care of this 3-6. But just to reiterate kind of what we watched from Addison Cole on this pair in Game 1, and then what we've watched from Paige in a similar situation. She leaves a 4-pin on this shot, but we're just talking about lane play and realistically targeting to a degree here. It's a really good look too. About 9-ish.
Yeah, I mean, and left of where Addison Cole was, and even left of where Addison Cole was, but very similar shape anyways, more up the boards, a little more direct. Like I said, I think she was throwing a DNA, so still ASIM, still, getting the ball to shape up and roll a little forward. Right. Obviously, Addison was throwing, I think, what, Ion Max, I believe, is what she was throwing the first game. So, similar style bowling balls anyways. Maybe, obviously, numbers and services may be a little different, but definitely still using that ASIM core to get it to roll forward for them. So.
And she's going to go, she's technically following Addison Cole. So she's going to go to the same pair that Addison Cole is on, which is 25 and 26. We'll see, kind of keep track of that. If you're trying to play out you know, what the differences might be realistically on 25 and 26. Sebi Vetter trying to finish strong here. Great shot.
Yes.
I think Sebi making some hand adjustments too. Not quite getting around it all the way, but I think that's intentional. Trying to get it a little bit more forward. Pick up a little bit earlier on this longer pattern, 50 feet. You mentioned buff earlier, and that's actually something that, from an understanding perspective, right? You know, the length of the pattern is the length, but in many cases, the pattern stops at a certain point, and then it is buffed to that finishing distance.
Correct.
Which is much different than thinking, hey, there's just 50 feet of oil, which technically, yes, it is,
right.
But it stops at a certain point, and then it's buffed, meaning, you know, it's think about think about approaches, and you got the buffer out there, right? It's being pushed the rest of the way and not necessarily applied, if you will.
Right. We always use the paintbrush theory where you dip your paintbrush in paint and then you just do one real long line.
That's a good analogy.
By the time you get done at the end, there's not very much paint left on the brush as what there was when you first started. And I believe it was about 35 feet. I think this pattern stopped oiling.
I'm going to use that. Can you mind if I use that?
It's yours.
That paintbrush.
It's yours.
I mean, that was a light bulb moment.
You know, and there's the other thing as you put the pattern up. You know, when you look at the reverse, you know, from 50 to 37 feet, the buffer is not on the lane. So it doesn't even at that 37 feet. I'm guessing where it stopped oiling in the forward. Oh, that's in the reverse. Okay, here. So the forward it only oils to what 19 feet, and then in the reverse, you know, it's dropping down here. So it's buffing from 50 back to 37. Okay, I see. And then it starts oiling at 37, coming back in the reverse. So in the forward, it's buffing for 30 feet, right? Where there's no new oil being applied to the pattern for 30 feet going down the lane in the forward. So I think, you know, that obviously just makes more sense as to why the right plays better for what, you know, most 50-foot patterns. You throw the ball up 5 and you're probably taking 3 off the rack right, you know.
The small intricacies in our sport that you know, really kind of play a role and make a difference. So again, just the knowledge aspect as we've been talking about, that explanation makes so much more sense, right? When you take off a layer or two,
right,
as opposed to just looking at the length of the pattern. And sometimes too much knowledge can be obviously overwhelming.
Yes.
Every now and then.
Yes.
But little things like that can go a long way, and it just kind of further understanding the sport.
Yeah, I was very fortunate when I was actually working over at Maple Lanes across the street about a dozen years ago. They brought Bill Manju in, rest in peace to Bill, passed away unfortunately a couple years ago, but he came in and did topography, the pin decks, but he also designed oil patterns, and I spent that summer with him for about 6 weeks while he was there, and he kind of took me to school on the oil pattern design and explaining, and it all of a sudden it was just like light bulbs started going off, you know, and then I'm pulling up patterns from old tournaments. It's like, oh, now that makes so much more sense, you know, and so yeah, that was very helpful. I then started getting into designing some patterns for like tournaments and you know, doing some things like that for here locally, and you know, you start to figure out some things, you know, as far as that goes, and it's yeah. So that, you know, only oiling to 19 feet. The pattern's 50 feet long, but in the forward, it's only oiling to 19 feet. It's different. You don't see that very often, you know, and obviously more of the oil being applied in the reverse. You know, so you're dragging the oil towards the foul line as you're applying it. It tends to sit a little better. Applying it in the forward, if you have high volumes, that's where you can start to see that carry down and the oil start to push down the lane more.
Matthew had shot 213. Josh had finished with 211 on 21 and 22. And now Rush with the 2 and the 10th here puts himself in the 250s.
Yeah, you would think a bowler like Rush, the long pattern should be right in his wheelhouse here, you know.
See how he will elect to handle his fill shot. Talking about fundamentally sound Just watch that game. The footwork, to me, is always impressive. Yeah,
Good break.
You cut that one up a little bit, but footwork, and I've become a player who pays more attention to footwork just because I don't bowl that much anymore, so mine is just awful. so when I see great footwork, I just like to call it out. And not everybody's is going to be the same, obviously. We're no one's going to. Everyone's not going to walk in a straight line and all of those things. But rush, and it's going to go by pretty quick. Let's try to slow it down if we can a little bit more.
Yeah, a professional from this area, this part of the world, is with footwork would be A.J. Chapman. From just about 40 minutes east of here. But yeah, Rush is very similar in that sense. I mean, it's just posted. That's how you're supposed to do it. You know, so obviously A.J. from Manchester, Iowa originally, and then obviously, you know, another person with great footwork is Tom Hess from Des Moines.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Tom is always in balance, posting shot. You don't, very, very rarely do you ever see A.J. or Tom falling off shot, and pros in general. I mean, let's be honest, but just for us here locally, you know, those are two bowlers, you know, that are very fundamentally sound when it comes to that.
I've always liked Tom. Just in general, just his game. But getting to know him a little bit more, we spend a lot of time now on Bowl TV.
Correct.
Covering bowling for USBC and PBA, etc. And getting to know him a little bit more, watch his daughter Megan bowl at St. Ambrose. Really enjoyed talking with Tom and his entire family. But yeah, and his performance as a player, right? You know, those two go hand in hand because what you just said, the guy never falls off a shot. You know, you look at a Verity Crawley, I think I've seen maybe twice in my life. And I've watched Verity bowl a gazillion games that she's fallen off a shot. And I'm not being facetious at all.
And I'm assuming then that there's something wrong with the approach.
Correct.
I'm assuming it was not her.
Something
it
was
the
not
approach.
right.
Correct.
We're in the game 3, folks. One player that we will get a chance to see in game 4, Macy Jones, is off camera. But Macy recently signing with Motive. That's another thing that's changed, you know, with the Storm Evolution program, and there's just opportunities for youth players to now essentially be signed by a brand. But it makes so much sense when you look at other sports and kind of how things work, and the AAUs of the world, et cetera, and so forth. We got some good stuff brewing in bowling too.
Yeah, I mean, when I first heard that, you know, wait, this youth bowler's on staff, like, how is this working? And, you know, and I don't know what impact NIL and the college landscape, what that's changed as far as eligibility and things like that. So it's all kind of evolving quickly, but yeah, it's interesting. You know, it's a great opportunity for some of these bowlers to, you know, get some exposure, and, you know, all of a sudden you get introduced into that, especially now with the internet, with being able to probably communicate with whether it's people that work for whatever company you're with, or pros, or, you know, anything else, other staff members that you get a chance to communicate with and learn.
It's a different world we live in, Andy.
It really is, yes.
But one that's really cool for the youth player. And again, as parents, we just look ahead. If bowling is in our kids' futures, right? I mean, there's just so many opportunities, and you anticipate that. And by default, they're going to be introduced to it. My kids love to go bowling. And I try to take them every time I'm home, at least every other week, depending on the schedule. So we're due actually next week. They asked me on Friday or Thursday, Dad, can we go? I'm like,
nice.
Actually, yes. When I return next week, we can go. That's on the schedule. There's just a ton available for our youth. In the booth with Andy Belo, my name is Emil Williams Jr. You're watching Game 3 of the long pattern. This is the first block of essentially 3 patterns: long, short, and medium. The short pattern will take place at 2 p.m. Central this afternoon, and then the medium pattern will take place in the morning. 5 games on each this long pattern. We've been dicing it up, if you will. But the players are the ones serving it. Man, they are putting in work here early, as certainly you would anticipate. Again, if you have any questions as you watch about a particular player, pinned in the chat, results tab. Check the results courtesy of Bowl Metrics. I want to thank the Youth Bowling Scholarship Foundation, again, for all that they have put together, all the work that they have put in for this third round, essentially, of their event. Midwest Youth Main Event Round 3, as the actual namesake says. Young Hunter. Speaking of the Youth Bowling Scholarship Foundation, we'll see Hunter is the son of. Why is her name leaving? Their parents are great. How can I think of Hunter's? Now I gotta go ask. We've been talking about Hunter all day. Earlier this morning, I was talking to his mom all day.
It's part of us getting older.
That is 100% it.
It's a real thing.
That is 100% correct. I see Landon Jordan off with a double. In fact, everybody on lane 15 with a double. Zach Grothis, Landon Jordan, looks like Vicky Andrews all with a double. Starting on 15 and 16. Carson Ree was looking for a 4-bagger down on the bottom of your screen. We'll see young Joss Weems here in a minute. I think Joss is about due. I feel like, and there might have been some things he's won that I just haven't seen. But I think the first year of this event, he lost to Anthony Swanson in the U15 division.
You know, even Joss, seeing him again now, I know he's a smaller stature, but he's bigger. Like he's bigger,
right.
He's stronger. You know what I mean? You can just see it watching him throw, and obviously, I get to see him pretty much once a year, but yeah, when I saw him, and I was like, oh, yeah, he's big. He's getting
no
bigger.
doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt. He is taller as well. Again, the physical strength. You know what the funniest thing is? And I love Joss. And I saw him yesterday. I said, hey, what's going on? How's everything? I asked him how school was going. You know what he said? And what he, now I'm going to have to paraphrase it. But it basically said, I don't like the 10th grade. It's like, I can respect that.
Yes.
I recall the 10th grade. Geometry was not my friend in 10th grade. And that's a young man who wants to probably still be a doctor of some kind, surgeon.
Sure.
And so, and me talking about my old geometry days. Speaking of Josh, on cue, and a 10-pin.
Wraps time.
Those of you who may want to participate out there, what was the what was the school subject for you that just wasn't your A game? Math in general wasn't a favorite, but geometry in particular, for whatever reason. I enjoyed. Well, that's not true. I was going to say I enjoyed algebra more than geometry, but I actually don't know if that's true. Maybe trigonometry was kind of interesting to me to a degree, and it was. But algebra, geometry,
I got to give a quick shout out. We've got 2 special listeners. I got my wife, Beth, and my daughter, Hope, are at home listening and watching. So Shout out to my 2 girls at home. Hope, make sure you're listening to Mom.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you for listening. I appreciate that. Thank you for allowing some time for me to share, Dad. Thank you. Speaking of grades and schools, right? We're talking about the good old kindergarten.
It's so cool. We're very lucky that we're still there. My daughter absolutely looks forward to going to school every day. Wants to, if we could leave an hour early to go to school, we would do it.
How about that?
So let's just pray that lasts about 12 more years, and then everything will be in really good shape if that continues to happen. So,
folks, if you don't mind to hit that thumbs up button if you don't mind, and share across your social channels. We want to help the Youth Bowling Scholarship Foundation get as many eyes, not just on this event, but across all of our streams this weekend. So every stream I'll be asking you to share and hit the thumbs up. The thumbs up puts that a little bit higher. It moves up. Every single thumbs up that you hit moves up higher in the old YouTube algorithm and what appears in someone's live feed, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so through about 5 or 6 frames, we've got, again, 19 and 20 is it's been odd just on a few hits, but overall I feel like it's been a very scoreable pair in front of us, like literally in front of us as far as the booth is concerned. And we've been featuring it, of course, the bottom right of your screen as well as on the main in many capacities. And then we look at slow brewing, but it's starting to pick up here. Aiden Owen, he's got the front 3. His talked to his parents briefly as they were exiting practice yesterday. That last name sounded very familiar. His mom was wearing a Wichita State sweatshirt, but their daughter, his sister, attends Wichita State.
That school's not going anywhere anytime soon. They just keep, Rick's been bringing in just more and more talent. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, the women's team in particular essentially broke new ground, if you will. They moved to the NCAA world of women's collegiate bowling. So
sure.
Still collegiate bowling, obviously, but just a little bit different landscape. The rules are just slightly different, and obviously nuances. But also could bring in, we were talking about NIL, NIL opportunities, and various things like that. So different world of bowling for Wichita State. But you anticipate them to still be Wichita State?
Yes.
Carson Reed, pretty solid so far. He's got now 5 out of 6 on 19 and 20.
And there's a urethane on a 50-foot pattern, which we would just, without knowing what we know now about the pattern, you'd be like, what? Why? And he's shaping it. Not only is he throwing urethane, he is shaping it.
We'll get him full screen here in a moment. Drew Winterscheidt, spare 4-bagger.
Josh just picked up a washout. Nice
Conversion there for Josh. So quickly here, let's go to Carson, full screen. There he is to your left. Talking about the shape. I feel like he's playing the lanes different. These 2 lanes. We'll get one more shot look at on this left lane when it's his turn, because he looked a little further right on the left lane. But you saw the shape, though.
Agree. Yeah, the ball definitely got farther right down the lane on lane 19. 20, that was a little bit more up the lane.
He might have some area to work with, too.
Well, but that would be what we've seen on that pair. I mean, there's been, we've had so many different styles and bowlers striking on this pair now through 3 games. So there's obviously something going on with that pair that people are creating some area.
Well, that's a bowler's best friend.
That's right.
Nice job by Peyton Geyer. I believe Sarah, or not mom, but at least someone with the last name Geyer. And it was Tara, I beg your pardon, who was watching. I see similar last names. I think family is watching. So hello to Tara, if you are indeed trying to get a glimpse of young Drew there. Give a look at the bowl metric scores here in a moment. And speaking of Aiden's sister, on cue, there is Alicia in the chat. Thank you for tuning in. Holden with 3 in a row. Opened 3-bagger in a moment. Gardner Carter was on 23 and 24 to start game 1, and then he moved to the right. Let's see, 23, skip 1, skip that. He might make it back to 13 and 14-ish for game 5, but we may not see him on camera. However, the best way to follow his progress throughout the day is by going to Lane Talk. And let me drop that live scoring link for you again. And that's for everybody here. It's if you scroll up, you can get it, but I'll drop it one more time. Click that link, and then you can search or follow any bowler that you're looking for, of course. Just scroll down, a good Control F or Command F, never hurt nobody there. Below doing a great job of producing. Astutely noticing that I did not change the graphic. So this is game 3.
Now, see, I wasn't going to say anything on air. I wasn't going to air you out like that, Emil. You know.
I appreciate you, though. So. I'm good for one game. I forget to change it every tournament.
Yep.
We just saw Carson there leave a 4-9.
And definitely see that ball really picked up on that lane compared to lane 20. Looked more similar to the shot on 22, right. So maybe he was probably feeding it a little farther right for a reason on 19.
Well, now we get a chance to see if he's going to make it.
You know, the other thing that's really cool nowadays is like bowlers like Carson that I've seen bowling some of the more adult Greater Iowa, like the Greater Iowas that we do around here and things like that. Obviously back when that was not an option for myself. When I was of that age, you know, at 18, you go bowl one of those tournaments, right. You're done bowling juniors, that's it, it's over. So good adjustment there that they've allowed that. I mean, better competition, you know, maybe tougher oil patterns, more experience, things like that.
Oh, young Drew here throws it pretty good.
Yes.
We'll see Holden here quickly, and then okay, take that break. Love that jersey.
Yeah.
Next big thing, I believe it says. I like that. It's a good look. Well, Savannah Portillo also on that pair. Portillo over on 21 and 22. Lillian Smith with the front, or sorry, the back 4 at the moment.
Yeah.
JT Groth is now struggling a little bit here, sporting his Elite Youth Tour jersey. Shout out to H5G. St. Lillian, I think she's bowled an EYT. She might have bowled the Battle Royale actually last month.
Okay. Yeah, I saw her a couple shots last game. She throws the ball really good.
And then we'll get you back to 23 to 26 here for a little bit. Update on Landon Jordan, 3-bagger, 8-spare double. Pretty on brand for Landon. He is that good.
Yes, he is.
Going on 15-16. He's going to make his way over here in a bit. Ooh, wow. And just as I said something great about him, which always happens.
Yes.
He leaves a blower 7-10. And Lillian did convert on her strike in the 7th frame.
Really nice shot there on 19 by Peyton. That was he's out. He's outside the first arrow. with some surface, but a lot of the same you were talking about earlier, a lot of forward roll, and it came in really nice, about where Addison Cole was at to start.
I do think if you're going to play out, having a little bit of forward roll is imperative, because even though we talked about the length, certainly the buffer portion, but there's an opportunity with too much side rotate or axis tilt that your ball can kind of get in that hydroplaning situation.
Yeah, you take that weight block and you tip it up on its side right away, and then it's I guess one thing that we've always heard, the sensitivity to oil or the lack thereof is increased because of the way the weight block. You don't have the weight block pointing towards the pins as much, more as you do maybe the sidewall. So it hits that oil and it kind of skids, or it hits that dry and it just stands up and goes.
Aiden able to get some carry there. Get out of there, that 4.57. Take a look at that one here. Allison Roberts from Rockford, Illinois. Allison and Ashlyn Tevis are high school teammates. Yeah.
Good luck beating that team.
Yes. To represent Harlem High School in Rockford, Illinois, which is just historically a hotbed city, in particular for high school bowling, girls and boys. They do it right. You talk about grassroots, man. They start in the middle school range, offering bowling as a sport.
Wow.
And of course, you create a nice grassroots program, which obviously feeds into the high school. Man, they've done it right for many years.
Yeah, that Rockford, Freeport, Peoria, I always just like that. Man, there is so much bowling. And then you get down to Bloomington and Springfield there too. There's just a ton of bowling in that part of Illinois. Oh.
Weems with a spare. Bieri just stone cold, a 9-pin. Let's take a look at that Odin strike here. It's a good knee bend. That's right. Kicking off that sidewall. Give him his hits. Payton finishing up here. There's Payton on the bottom right of your screen, Mom. Leaves a 4.67, unfortunately, on what was a fantastic game.
Field goal.
If you've got a little bit of touch, certainly good right ball surface and release point, there's been some score to get out on this pattern. And the interesting thing, again, I mentioned last year's short pattern played. It was the most difficult of the three, and really let me know actually that short patterns, kind of to a degree, and you can design a pattern to really do anything or give you a scoring pace that you want, or force you in a particular area. You can do all of those things by pattern design, but I don't know. But last year's short pattern was, I think it played harder than probably anticipated.
Sure.
And but it was one of those things where you realize you just can't throw it to the gutter anymore on short patterns. Like there's a certain level of accuracy, execution that you have to be successful on short these days. Mm-hmm. No longer, we're not just throwing it like the old-fashioned cheetah pattern.
Right. Bumper bowling for the pros.
Carson, shape and urethane. Oh,
ooh.
How about that? Well, that was nice. It's fun watching young athletes perform, and then when you kind of make eye contact with them on a like that, you guys made eye contact, and he kind of gave the shot smiles, like, "Oh, Carson, you gotta earn. You did it, man.
Yeah.
You can bask in it just for a little bit.
Nothing wrong with that."
That's a huge double. Yeah, there's Lillian. Entering your screen. There she is. Wow.
Wow, great shot.
Not doing anything extra. And what I mean by that is, you know, very solid game. Really allowing the ball to do the work. Figuring out where she needs to be since she's going to play a little further right. One more look at this 9-pin.
About 11 there at the break point, which, I mean, just makes sense, you know, for a 50-foot pattern.
Yeah, and that's right, because if you're going to play in, right, the characteristics still suggest you be in that zone, right, left of the track, theoretically. But the fact that you can play right, you know, makes the pattern, to me, just that much better, because you've got a couple of things to work with, and one maybe doesn't work, or you're not comfortable in a particular area. That would have been me on a long pattern. Not comfortable, you know, getting in, playing fourth arrow.
Yeah.
I want to be as further right as I can.
For me, as a high rev player, I look for the longer buff like that, where if I can open up some angle, I can actually kind of create some hold, use that buff to my advantage, but you still got to have the ball face up. So it's just playing that game of getting the angles tight until you start to see some friction, and then so survive maybe the first 2 games on a 5-game block, and then hopefully go get them the last 3, you know, kind of a thing.
And that happens a lot on tour.
Sure.
You know, depending on the pattern and the player, right? Obviously, but for some it is that. Hey, like, I got to do this for the first game and a half, and then, you know, based on the rest of the field, it should transition to a place where that I can be at my best.
Kind of, you know, and I don't know how, what I've always thought anyways, was kind of was the reemergence of urethane then.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just throw this up the boards, keep it in front of me, stay, you know, catch a turkey and shoot 2 teen.
Yeah.
And then, oh, it hooked. Okay, now I'm getting my resin. I'm moving 15 left, and I'm going to send it, you know. And then all of a sudden they figured out, hey, this urethane thing's not too bad. This actually kind of works.
Nice game for Savannah. 227 clean. Portillo, one of our, well, 2. She's got a sister named Olivia, who could be a very good bowler if she chooses to be. She also plays softball. Her sister does. So that has taken up a lot of her weekends now. But Savannah doing a great job. She's starting to get some college looks as well. Here is Lillian Smith. Push a little. Oh, good Lord. Yeah, I hear you, Lillian. Yes. I have the same reaction. And for those of you folks who maybe don't listen to me a lot, there is one pin I hate more than any other pin in bowling, and it is the 8-pin. That's about as great of a shot as you can throw. And that's why, you know, every now and then it is a cruel sport.
Yeah. Well, hopefully she picks this up here, and I'm anxious to see it. It almost looked like maybe that ball might have been just a smidge in, and almost like it hooked and then kind of just backed up a little bit. Maybe it might have caught a little bit of the oil behind it, but let's hopefully she picks this up, and then I want to see. I bet the next shot might be a board or 2 right of that, and I bet it goes right through the pins again. Hook a lot.
Hook.
Oh, man, now it was my turn to do it to her. Oh.
Still a great game, 234.
Yeah.
Here's the replay. Yeah, you might be right. Maybe a hair.
I felt like maybe a couple shots earlier, about around 8-7 at the break point. That was about right on 10. But that's an appropriate reaction. That is spot on for what just occurred.
Back over to 23-26 here as they finish up now game number 3.
I feel like we're starting to see some of this transition now really starting to kick in. Ball's starting to hook a little earlier, slowing down, maybe some flatter 10s and some 2-pins and some things like that starting to pop up. Although 15 and 16, which we'll get to see next game, they are not having a whole lot of problems over there right now. They are striking.
Well, that group is going to go to 21 and 22. But yeah, Savannah Portillo 227, Lillian Smith 234. They both are playing in a similar area. That group, at least with Landon, Vicky Andrews has got. Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah, she's firm.
Oh, good break.
Now, I've been watching the last handful of shots. She flushed them, and then we get the camera on her. Good Brooklyn, we love it. That's good. That's at least some good karma from our side instead of talking them into a blower 710 or missing a spare.
Well, the interesting thing too is it's not just Vicky. It's
Dawson here. Yeah,
Dawson. I don't know how to properly pronounce his last name. Looks like it's two eyes.
Yeah.
Well, here comes Dawson here on the right of your screen.
Nice shot. Oh, Lord.
Wow. Really?
Oh.
Okay.
He threw that really, really good.
There it is,
Yeah.
Vicky. Wow.
I believe Vicky is from Des Moines. If I works at Jason Guess and Angie Guess Bowling Center down there, if I remember right.
I'm not sure I knew Jason had a bowling center.
Yeah, and his wife Angie, Angela Chirper, they have Bolorama Lanes in Des Moines, and then that's where Jason's pro shop is. Bowler's
wow.
Connection, yeah.
I haven't seen Angela. It makes sense. We were talking about the Open Championships. You know, that was my first job in the industry. And so I remember them coming to bowl. You know, that group, obviously very good. But I was unaware that they had a bowling center.
Yes.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, I remember. So, junior scholarship Angel, she would come down from Minnesota, and I mean, she was wiping all of us, boys, girls. She was really good. I mean, she's still very good, obviously, but I mean, in college, I think she went to Nebraska. Is that right?
That's a good question. I'm going to look that up.
I believe. Stone 8, Stone 9 for Dawson on the same lane, back-to-back shots.
And Vicky shoots 277.
Yeah.
I believe that might be our high game. Oh, yeah, it is now. Because Lou shot 273.
Yeah.
All right, 10th frame here. 23 to 26, Joss.
He's getting going. He's starting to look a little comfortable there.
Yes, indeed. Young Joss Weems. I haven't seen Mom today. She might be in the building. She may not, but if she is not, hello to Mom. It's funny, yesterday I saw a lot of players that I know, and I didn't see any of their parents. But I've learned now to not be surprised by that because they can drive now. And so sometimes they do drive themselves to various events, and it throws me off every now and then. But I didn't see the Jordans. I didn't see Tony, but he's here.
Yeah, I saw
Tony's here.
Yeah.
The first time I went to or saw Landon and Griffin at a tournament, and I was like, "Hey, where are your parents?" And they're like, "No, we drove here." I was like, "What?" Oh yeah, you're there. You are at that age. I want to bowl 19 and 20, and I want to bowl like 5 through 8.
So, the league local knowledge, 19 through 22 is probably widely considered the best 2 pairs in the house. I think that's going back to even when I first started bowling here and when I moved here for college, these were still wood, and even then, and obviously airflow and things have to have something to do with that, with topography, but sure. 19, 20, 21, and 22 are always, you got excited when you're bowling on those pairs. Always.
All right, Aiden finishes with 206, the unfortunate split in the 10th frame. Josh with 219. You see Kylie's 184, Allison 176. Jackson shoots 214, and Quinn, Mr. Thomas, will wrap things up as we move over to game 4 here coming up. Kenny Shaw can see watching his son Zane compete over on 17 and 18. I talked to Kenny last year at this tournament, and I think he was just beginning his first year as a coach at a new collegiate program in Illinois. I think of the name of it. I believe it's St. River College, I believe. So we'll get an update with Kenny at some point this weekend, see how things are going. You talked about collegiate coaches that are here. Our guy Roger from Hawkeye community. They won a national championship at the junior college level in the last 5 years. Their season started 2 weeks ago.
Yes.
And speaking of Rockford, in Rockford, Illinois, Tony Hall and Rock Valley College host a collegiate tournament every year, kind of the mini kickoff, if you will. The Midwest Collegiate Championships underway in Wauwatosa, and that too is kind of the official kickoff to the collegiate season.
I know local college here, Wartburg College. They're up there. Brandon and Alexis Runk are the coaches. So I talked to them. We bowled league Thursday night against them. So I talked to them for a while, and they said they were heading up there this weekend to go bowl.
Yep, and they were, I feel like last year they were here. They had just taken over the program, of course, at that point, and getting ready for battle, if you will.
Yeah.
Well, we just watched Vicky Andrews shoot 270. What do we say? 277.
Yeah.
And she comes over to 21 and 22, and picks up right where she left off.
And a bowler like Vicky, with as firm as she is with her ball speed, you would think got to be feeling good, striking a lot on the long pattern. You would got to think she'd be more comfortable, I would think, on the short pattern for sure.
Yeah, that ball speed is really an advantageous item to have.
Yeah.
On short, you know, and viewers always like to incorporate things that either I've experienced or used to do, and whether they were good or they didn't go so well for me. So, like I've been talking about, playing in or longer patterns were not a strength of mine, but I did love short patterns, which may lead you to believe I was a straighter player, which was true. And I like to see the angles in front, and if I'm going to open them up, then, you know, they weren't going to be extreme to a degree. I could probably get you to 20 to 5 though if I needed to really open it up. And then anything after that, I didn't want to move left of 20.
Yeah,
I was that person, unless I really had to. And even then, you start learning about, you know, if you're going to be left, it doesn't mean you need to be throwing it. Right. Your target needs to also move with you.
correct.
Which took me a long time to get.
These the pro anvil lanes with the tracers down lane.
Right.
That 10 board tracer down the lane is your friend, right?
Correct.
We're just trying to use that as our bumper. Yeah. Seeing where myself, once I got to 20, my eyes started getting a little bit bigger as I got to move left of 20. 25 was always that. I felt like I was in my wheel zone. I was ready to go then.
Have you seen Rookie of the Year, the movie?
Oh, yeah.
All right, so you remember at the end, Henry Rowan Gardner's nemesis from the Nets, the Mets. Shout out to the Mets, by the way, for good advancement in the playoffs.
The polar bear.
Yeah. So, but the final where he floats it, right, and he can see it, and he's like licking his chops, just like. That's when you said, like,
yes,
you know, what you would like to see. I pictured that as you.
Yes.
Getting the chance to see what you want.
It seemed to be getting on the approach just a little faster. Like I'm ready to go. Then when we get into 25, it's go time for me.
We are into game 4. Ooh. Jesse Holtkamp, Mats Thunberg here on 19 and 20. Justin Clifford. Jenna and Olivia rounding out this group on 19 and 20. Jenna Pitts. Then again, 21 and 22. They saw Vicky, Zach, Landon, Sarah, Benjamin, and Dawson. Some really good scores coming from that group. And just a game ago, I'll give the staff just a few more minutes just to kind of make the the move and grabbing scores from game 3, and then we'll do a bowl metrics update. I know I'm mentioning this a lot, but it's been a while since I've seen a long pattern be very forgiving.
Yes. What was the ratio on this pattern? I guess I never did. We've talked a lot about it, and I never looked at that.
Great point.
If I had to guess, I would probably think maybe make the medium pattern the flattest.
Sure.
Soften up the longer and the shorter pattern a little bit, just so, like you said last year, the shorter pattern was pretty rough. 2.5. I mean, that's not easy. I mean, you're not.
It's not.
Yeah.
It is not easy.
No.
It's not easy, but again, the knowledge base of the athlete, I think, is showing today.
Sure.
Taking advantage of the multiple ways to attack the pattern, and those who can get comfortable, again, playing out, playing in. The one thing that we did determine early was when you do have a pattern like that, generally speaking, if you're kind of caught in that middle, that's when you can run into trouble, because you get trouble on the right because you're running into that traffic. And then, those who are playing in are feeding the ball basically into your laydown zone in your area.
Correct.
And sometimes you're forced to kind of choose a side in that sense, if you will. Boy, but Justin handled that one with ease.
Yeah. And like you said, the longer pattern with forgiveness, a longer pattern with friction, though, too. And I think that's where the forgiveness part of it comes from. You can, easy hook on a long pattern isn't necessarily always there. So, it's. I think maybe some people that a little rougher the first game are starting to kind of get going here a little bit. Even, not like what Landon might have had 190 or something in the first game. Or two or low 200.
He shot two.
No, it was actually, I think it might have been low 220s. But now, last game and this game, you're really starting to see his ball shaping up and going through the pins. And
we do have some scores through 3. Man, you talking about quick. Shout out to the staff.
Yeah.
All right, so let's start with U15 boys. Through 3 games, 200, 185, 228, 13 over for Tatum Lee. Easton Taylor is 9 over. Sebi Vetter, 4 over. Grizzly Potter Jr. even. And our fair share of 200s certainly throughout that group. U15 girls. Leah Basevic, again, leading the way. Addison Johnson, Emily Schmidt actually very close. I think by the time this thing, especially on the short pattern, we watched Addison Johnson, and she was pretty solid earlier. See her having a pretty good block on the short too. And then U18 boys, Landon, 238 out the gates.
Okay.
So he is now 77 over with Peyton Geyer, who we just watched on 19 and 20, get to 70 over. Quinn Thomas is 55 over. Jesse Holtkamp at 48 over. Dawson Mitchell and Griffin Jordan both at 42 over. And really good stuff, of course, in U18 boys. Then in U18 girls, Addison Cole 61 over after the big 273 to open up. Back-to-back games of 194, which is still really good, especially trying to navigate where she's playing or was playing. So it'll be interesting if she is still in that particular zone or not. Vicki Andrews catapults her way, of course, into the top 3 after her own game of 270 or better, 277. She is now 38 over, and Macy Jones 14 over in U18 girls.
Yeah, and we're going to see Macy on the live stream now on 23. I think, at least I can remember this first time I've seen her. That's a really impressive game. Very, very, very solid.
Nice job by Jesse. Young, powerful two-handed righty. For Macy in particular, honestly, and it's your first time, but imagine seeing this game, but like 3 years early.
Man.
Okay. And then obviously continuing to get better, refine it, etc. But, you know, the thing I've noticed about our U12, I'm going to use the U12 division as an example. Now, there's no U12 division here, but U12 is like, you know, the earliest division in junior golf. When you see a lot of really good foundations in the U12 division, you know, there's no penciling in per se, but those are the players 5 years later you remember because you say, oh man, that particular player had a great foundation. The fundamentals were already there. And you know, someone like an Annalise O'Brien, I saw for the first time in U12. She still throws it almost the same. She's just, of course, better and continues to refine it, which is incredible stuff. That's a great spare by Jenna Pitts because that 3-pin was moved and the 6-pin moved as well. So that was very choppable, even more so than it normally is. I'm sorry, the 247, I beg your pardon.
Yeah, the head pin came off the sideboard and just nudged the 2-pin a little bit and almost made it a split for her to pick up.
And folks, if you have any questions or if you're looking for a particular bowler, we've been covering essentially lanes 19 to 22, 23 to 26. Have been kind of our main go-tos, and a periodic check-in over on 15 and 16 just to kind of give you a look at what's happening on the lower end of the building or to the left of our divider. Just to the left of that divider, speaking of, you couldn't see it, but Zane Shaughnessy got the old 1-2-4 to trickle and get a good break there.
Gotta like it.
Landon and Zach having themselves a nice day, or a block specifically.
Yes.
Holt Camp went through the nose, 3, 6, 9, 10. Again, game 5 is scheduled to begin. I'm sorry, not game 5. I should say the short pattern in our 5-game block scheduled to begin at 2 p.m. Central Time. 2 p.m. Central Time. So adjust your plans accordingly. We will be live right here on Bowlstream TV all weekend long. It's always a tough spare either way it goes.
I think specifically on sport patterns, that spare should have a circle around it. I will argue that's the next USBC rule change I need to see. Anything under 3 to 1, if you leave it 3, 6, 9, 10 or 2, 4, 7, 8, that should have a circle around it. It is brutal.
There's Hunter. Oh,
yeah.
Oh, what a shot.
Very nice shot.
Schmidt, right now near the top of the standings in U15 girls. It's Macy Jones on this pair. Brandon Littlejohn, hang on. Or Brendan, excuse me. Landon.
Yeah, he's getting dialed in. He's. I think we're going to see a few more of those X's this next game and a half.
Landon's had and it's not over, obviously, but a stellar youth career at this point.
Zach here on lane 22 is, he's been making a lot of really good shots.
Yes, brother JT was just on that pair.
Okay. Oh, he's getting some family knowledge. I like it.
Maybe getting a little, at least one of what maybe not to do.
Yes.
And this doesn't work on this pair, so make sure you don't do that.
Right. And right on cue, Macy leaves our 36910 that we just talked about.
It's incredulous. Yeah, man, throws it really good.
Yes.
Jesse.
He does not get cheated at the bottom.
No.
Man after my own heart. I appreciate that. I respect that.
When it goes through the pins, it's not stopping. Young Griffin Jordan over on 17 and 18. So Griffin and Landon with differing styles.
Yes.
And Griff kind of playing him around 17-ish, maybe 16, kind of right up and at him to a degree.
Landon's kind of moved into that portion. He's definitely left a third arrow. It looked like about 16, 17 on that shot as well. Obviously more shape, getting it a little farther right down lane, but Macy back up here on 24. Still looking at about 7-8. Wow, nice shot.
Good view as well from the footwork and fundamentals that we were just talking about. And just from start to finish, when you talk about the fundamentals, the aspects of it, I mean, there's not a thing wrong with what you're about to see on this replay. That's about as good as you can do it right there, folks.
It's effortless, right? When you see people in any sport, it's obviously bowling though, and it just doesn't even look like they're trying, and it just comes off their hand that well and rolls that hard. Right.
Pretty impressive what, and she's been on the official visit tour as well. I think I saw a photo or two of her at Nebraska recently.
Her services will be in high demand. I feel very confident. I'm going to go out on a limb. You can mark this in your live stream. Make me look smart someday, Macy. Now, where is she from?
She is from Southern Illinois.
Okay.
Near Vandalia.
Okay.
About an hour and some change, I think, away from like St. Louis, for example.
Okay.
I always thought she was actually from Vandalia, but she's like from a town like just outside of it. But it's about the same. Just to give you an idea on kind of St. Louis. Yeah, an hour from St. Louis. Fun fact there is that Josie Barnes, formerly Ernest, her sister Jessica, are from Vandalia.
Okay.
Their parents used to own Vandalia Bowls, the local center in their respective city, but which is now the center. Their parent or their family no longer owns the bowling alley, but that's the primary center that Macy practices at. So I see them actually often. See Macy often, but I see them often as well. So Landon got back on the strike train in frame 8. Take you there full screen here in a little bit. Zach Grothis hasn't stopped striking, actually.
No, he's throwing the ball really, really well.
Tyler Paulus just made a nice 3-9-10 over on 15 and 16. Levy shot 174. That was over on 19 and 20.
Oh, wow. I think that was the 3-pin that hit the 9. That's what it looked like.
And that carry. Is that the same lane? No, that was 21. That Lillian Smith left an 8-pin.
On the bro, that was 19. It was 19.
No, not the Brooklyn one. Was that wasn't a Brooklyn? Sorry, was it?
Oh, no. I thought you meant the one,
No,
weird.
not that
the
one,
weird.
not that
Okay,
one.
I got you. Yeah.
But I was thinking about the weird pin action there.
Yeah.
Benjamin Gear there to your left. Oh, what a shot that was.
He's local. I think he had a football game last night and for his high school, and now he's here bowling today.
I remember there was at least one player. As Matt Thunberg finishes up with 187. Well, Matt's, his dad is here this week. There was another player too. I think we had two players we were talking about last year with who played football regular basis and I think they had games on Friday night. Hook a little.
Tabitha Klein, nice game going here on 25.
Well, Landon looking like he's trying to be the block leader on this long pattern. But Jace Pint with the front 7 down there on 13 and 14.
Wow.
Keep our eyes on that development.
We probably won't. Well, we might get him a little bit on camera if we need to. Yeah.
We can sneak over there and catch it if necessary.
Goes Zach. Another man.
Just blowing the pins back. It's like his ball literally pushing.
Yes.
Like with outstretched arms, pushing the pins.
Yeah. I mean, and then obviously Vicky is still, I think she looked like she had to make a little move on this pair, and now she's kind of getting it going again. She's still looking at shooting 200 this game on that pair.
Oh, get out of there. 6 just lead into that sidewall right into the 10. Boy, Griffin is just putting in work on 17 and 18.
He's wearing those pins out.
Griffin Jordan going to be in the 260s.
Be anxious to see here on 25 on 10th frame if Carson Reed gets a fill ball, if he maybe tries to venture off of urethane. Let's just the last couple shots, a lot of over-under. Either digging in on him or it's just kind of laying there and not really going.
Landon leaves a 4-pin.
Very solid game.
It's going to be in the 240s again. His low game is now going to be, I believe, 230.
Shake it off.
I'm sorry, 216. I beg your pardon. 238, 216, 223.
Yeah, there on Macy on 23. Missed a little right last frame and had the big washout. Inevitably, the next shot, a little more up the lane. 3-pin. I know that all too well. I'm not missing right on this shot.
Benjamin Gear.
Yeah.
I like his game a lot.
He looks like an offensive lineman, doesn't he? Yes.
He can move some people out of the way.
Yes.
Rothus. Oh.
I mean, they've almost all looked like that, just mowing them straight back.
The funny thing about what he's doing is like the slow motion replay actually does a disservice to him because you need the full speed impact.
Yeah, Benjamin Greer here. Obviously, like I said, local water, part of Brandon Steen's high school squad at Waterloo West there, so bowls a lot. They do.
Well, just thinking of him and Rush on the same team. Just those two alone.
Yeah. And then they had
It's not even the rest of the team.
They had last year. They had Tavon Homelar, if you remember, the two-hander here locally. He's playing college baseball now.
That's awesome.
And then so they won the state the high school championships here in Iowa last year, and they got to go represent Iowa at they had like a state
at
or
the
a high school.
at the national.
Yeah.
I forgot the exact title.
Yes.
Mike Nitre runs that.
Yeah, we're out in Cleveland, Pittsburgh, somewhere out there.
Yeah, kind of floats around varying cities.
Yeah, but they all got to go. Ben, I know Ben was part of that squad that got to go out and bowl that.
That's great.
This past summer.
Well, Zach finishes with 279.
That's wow. New high game so far. Although Mr. Jace Pint here might have something to say on lane 14. Front 7, he's getting up here in the 8th frame. That looked in off his hand, yeah.
So I didn't want to go to it. I didn't want to jinx him.
It's
funny how that kind of thing actually does. It gets into our head ever so slightly.
Yeah. Just a black cloud sometimes, you know.
That's what we call it.
That's what we do it. Yep.
Talk about Anthony Swanson bowling pretty well. He still is. I don't see a world. That's a very talented young man, and not just in the bowling world. He and his brother, I believe, play multiple instruments.
Oh wow!
Yeah, they're always in concerts. In fact, Anthony was he's kind of a featured pianist, I believe, at the Wrigley Field has a like a winter wonderland type thing around Wrigley during the Christmas or holiday season, and Anthony played like on a Saturday. Yeah.
Dual threat.
Love talented athletes. Again, we're not just talking about what they do in their respective sport.
And you hear just from talking a lot of these high-level youth bowlers, and then you find out that they're also all-world students, right? Good grades, prolific in this, and proficient in this, proficient in that, and it's just, it's really cool to see that it's just not bowling, that, that they're so well-rounded.
We just talked about Benjamin.
Yeah.
Playing football last night.
Yeah.
Take a look at that cable after this game when this block is over. Bothering me. I keep seeing it flicker. And it's not, the problem is too, it's so minute. It's in every, however many it takes, but which leads me to believe it just might be a little, maybe a little wiggle of a cable over there. That's a good spare.
Yeah, nice conversion from Macy. I'll be anxious to see if she tries something here in the fill ball. Looks like, yep, something gold. The new moto, who's that? New gold is a new Raptor. Or I don't know what.
Yeah, it might be actually.
I've seen getting some stuff online. It's obviously a newer release, Raptor Rush. Okay. Yeah. About the same exact spot that she threw the last shot, so must just be a little bit more ball, a little cleaner, maybe a little more down lane.
And she's, you know, I think it's her signing was, yeah, I don't know the exact time, but it's relatively recent, so I'm sure she's still getting used to some of the ball motions and getting comfortable as she builds an arsenal to a degree, not necessarily on the fly, but
yeah. And I'm sure she probably had some motive stuff obviously already in her bag before even signing, and then you replace a couple pieces possibly. But you know, typically most people when they sign with some sort of a staff have already been. Now obviously the pros it's a little different, but for us, you know, non-professionals, that usually you've already had some of that stuff in your hand. When I signed with Brunswick, it was 12 years ago. I've been on staff now with Brunswick for 12 years, and I only had one ball in my bag that had to be replaced. I know when I signed, yeah. So
one, okay,
just one ball.
That's impressive.
I had one ball. That was the only thing that had to go, and that was we've shared the story. I think remember last year I told you I got really awesome experience with Parker Bone when I was young.
That's right. When
I was young, so I was already, I was in on the Big B at a very young age, getting to have an experience to get to bowl with Parker Bone for a whole weekend. So
that's pretty cool. Yeah, we did talk about that.
Yeah. Also on 13 or 14, when we had the front seven, Abby Starkey is lined up. I've watched, I happened to see the last 4 shots, and they were all flush. She is dialed in.
Hold on, be right back.
Yeah. Gavin Brossard, spare there, nice pin in the 10th. Working on 205. Abby's up here on 13, working on a 5-bagger. Ooh, 9 count. 4-pin still puts her at 233 with the spare. Emil's doing some camera adjustments there on. Kevin, stone 8 for 204. Abby converts a 4-pin, 233. With 4 out of 5 spares to start that game on 13. Made a great adjustment and got lined up to work her way into 230. There you go, Jace. That was about when we had the front 7. We went down and watched that 7 count they left. That was about probably 3 boards right down lane, maybe even 4. That looked. I'm assuming that's probably about where the first 7.
He looked pretty good too. Yeah. Just watching his again the fundamental foundation.
Yeah. Purple hammer on the 50-footer.
It's crazy.
It is.
I've seen a lot of players be able to shape urethane and play in the middle part of the lane a lot. Not just today, but just, again, the understanding of how to incorporate urethane and make it a very useful tool for a lot of players.
Yes.
Looks like 23 and 26 is up and at 'em for game number 5. Take you down here in a moment. We'll let Jace finish it out here.
Ooh, 266. That's
Abby's going to be on 19 and 20. No, this group actually is moving over to 19 and 20.
Yeah.
They're skipping 2 pairs. Emily Kringle. She was working on her game last night during the practice session.
solid. Wow.
I believe she won the U15 girls title last year.
Okay. Hopefully she gives this 2-4-10 a run here and then can convert it and maybe try something in the fill ball. That ball looked like maybe a gem, really bogged down a bit. You know, it started to shape and then it just kind of went forward. And I don't know if it was a little right or if it just lost energy. Get it. Ah.
Austin will finish it out. Olderog.
Good looking shot there.
Yeah, he bowled the Elite U-Tour Battle Royale as well. That's when I first saw him. I saw him last night. No, during the practice session. I'm like, man, he looks really familiar.
Sure.
And then he was at the OP last night as well with his family. And I heard his last name. I'm like, oh, yeah,
Okay.
he definitely bowled.
Really using that forward roll, playing in the outside portion of the pattern. Looks good. Next door there, Lucas Boyd had a nice little shimmy for that strike. He's obviously was excited about that.
Game 5 now official. See young Griffin. Well, folks, game 5 here on the long pattern, and it has been, again, favorable for higher scores, which leads me to believe that the scoring pace is going to dip this afternoon just a little bit. For some players, like I expect Abby Starkey to actually just destroy the short pattern.
Sure.
I don't think she's ever met a short pattern she didn't like. That's how good she is on short.
Yeah.
But I think for others, I think for the grand scheme, like for the field, the field average would dip a little bit on the short, especially for those who just aren't comfortable playing near the gutter.
Right.
And that's where you can see those differences, and it's like, I don't know if I want to get too close.
Yeah. And you know, there goes to experience doing it, bowling on short patterns. It took me a long time. It just in my youth, never really ran into a lot of short patterns. So it was just a learning curve. But you have that light bulb moment sometimes on that short pattern, whether it's urethane, whether it's a hand position, or a drilling, something that all of a sudden you get a little more comfortable, and then you start to grow a little. It gets a little easier for you.
Yeah, the comfort part, I'll give you an example, not even just with short patterns, but in general. The use of surface and really the understanding of it, right? And how it truly can make one ball either go from, man, I don't even like this ball. It's not going to be in my bag, and then you make a surface adjustment on it, and all of a sudden it's the first ball out of your bag.
Correct.
I've been having trouble in league, and I only bowl a couple of weeks when I'm there.
Yeah.
But, you know, bowling this league a couple of years already, so it's a very high volume in the middle. And, you know, 43-ish feet, a lot of volume in the middle, et cetera, and so forth. So you got to get lucky. Yeah. And I don't have time to really get to the shop and all that stuff, so I typically have just one ball.
Yeah.
But the first couple of weeks I bowled, it was like the same situation. Got to move left, but, you know, 10-pin bucket, 10-pin bucket, just not enough engine. Hit the ball at 2,000 a couple weeks ago before I left. Read everywhere I ever needed it to read. Same ball.
Right.
And ended up having a good day. But just and this is mainly, you know, for anyone really listening, but when you hear people or players or anybody really talk about surface and how it can be a game changer, truly it is. It's always good to experiment with the varying grits out there to kind of get an idea of what the balls do with certain surfaces, especially if it's one that maybe you don't like too much. Give it a whirl with some surface, or remove surface. Same thing sometimes. It can be the reverse can be true also.
Correct. Yeah, you got to get the ball to slow down. If the ball doesn't slow down, it's not going to hook. So if your surfaces, if you don't have enough teeth, right, not enough traction on the tires, you know, kind of a thing, you know, it can be, especially when you get up to a house shot type thing where you got the puddle in the middle and a lot of friction, right? You know, that can be, you know, it's almost feel like you either have everything or you have nothing. And so having some different options and things like that. You know, this year for me in our league, we have one of the few, it's a scratch league. Mm-hmm. You know, we pull heads up for points, 5-man teams. You know, the middles are hooking a little bit this year. So it's almost the pattern feels a little flatter. Misses out to the right are kind of hanging a little bit. So I actually finally found something a little bit where I actually went to some shorter pins, right? Something that I can keep more in front of me as a high rev guy. And, you know, just playing the lane a little straighter. And maybe some stuff that's a little weaker. You know, it's weird, you know. You just never know, right? And it's just, you know, I was a little knuckleheaded for a couple weeks there fighting it. You know, I can make this work, you know, and then finally I gave in and made some smarter decisions, you know. And, yeah.
I think we're all guilty of that, to a degree.
Yeah. Oh, I'm walking into this place. I know exactly what I'm going to do before I even throw a ball in the lane, right?
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, we got Lexi folks with the front four. They're on 25 and 26. Just saw Jesse, unfortunately, missing that spare, but he did have the front three. And over on 21 and 22. We have a couple of Macy's here on our roster. We'll get some bowl metrics updates for you here in a moment. Abby Starkey, the bottom right of your screen. You know, coming off that group with Jace Pine, who had the front 7 a game ago. High flush for Starkey. Let's see, who do we have on our pair? Well, Jace Pine is local. He is from Waterloo.
Yes.
All right. 10th grade.
Another West High. What part of the Brandon Steen stable of bowlers there at that high school?
Let's play a little golf. There's Jace. Bowls out of Maple Lanes. The bowler is Packy Hanrahan.
That's a good one.
Packy, talking about somebody putting in the work.
Yeah. His YouTube page is a lot of fun. If you've never checked it out, you can learn a lot, but you can also have a lot of fun just watching bowling there. And he's just a dynamic personality.
Putting in the work on and off the lanes.
Yes.
Young Zane Shaughnessy.
Almost.
Mr. Toonsberg, Matt Toonberg from Rockford.
Yeah. Nice game.
Very nice. And he shot 300, but I'm not remembering where it was.
Okay.
his dad introduced himself to me this morning. Matt's bowls a lot of EYTs, and normally his mom brings him to the EYTs. How about that?
Oh boy.
I think that was Caden with the late, a little bit of a late break there. Was that on 22? Yeah, it was.
Yes.
It was on 22. Anyway, his dad is here, and it's dad bringing him this week as opposed to mom.
Yeah.
Well, let's see what we can gather from young Caden here. To the Jenna shot.
Ooh, that's a good ball.
Oh. How about that?
Nice light mixer.
That was good. Oh, look at the hobbies for Mats. Golf, downhill skiing, mountain biking, wakeboarding.
Man,
that's impressive.
That is an eclectic.
You gotta put in a little work
Yes.
in the gym to be ready for all of what Mats is going to give you.
Lexi here on 25, local, young bowler. Her dad, Josh, is a very good local bowler. I'm assuming she's got to be in the 15U, I would think. I think she's a freshman, I believe, at Waterloo West this year. Oh, good shot, 10 pin.
It's interesting. Just behind us, there is, and literally in the building, right behind lanes, basically 15, 16, 17, and 18. There's this now history, almost like an exhibit item, like you'd find at a museum. There's basically a TV with a lane and some pins, and it's definitely museum-like. But it basically is kind of the history of high school bowling in Iowa.
Correct. So the state tournament is held here now. So, so they put that together for them. It's really nice. Looks great. And they always have replays of former state tournaments showing. I've even seen some of the older ones when it was still down in Des Moines. Before on Randy Thompson's center down there in Des Moines. Before that, unfortunately, burnt down. They used to host the state championships. Plaza Bowl, I believe that was called. But yeah, it's cool that they do that, and now it's a lot of Cadillac that's on there from the tournaments here. That's a wild event when it's here. The mapping out, they gotta, literally have to map out where people can stand, where they can't.
Gotta get the tape out.
Yes, there's tape everywhere. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Derek here on 19, two-handed lefty, has got a real nice look playing way out.
I remember him. I feel like I remember him last year, but I know I've watched him bowl before. I just don't remember if it was here.
Okay.
But he's from Bluegrass, Iowa.
Okay. Yeah, down by the Quad Cities down there.
Tends Muscatine.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, Rose Bowl. I remember that center a lot.
Yes.
Bowl there.
Yes. What used to be called Playmore.
Yep.
And Muscatine. And that's the Roseman family. So Joe Roseman and his family. That's one of the centers that they purchased. Turned it into the Rose Bowl down there. Yeah. Matt Wegan is the king of the Rose Bowl. Two-time Eagle winner. I believe there's actually they do like I think they were doing some sweepers there for a while. That you got a bounty if you actually beat Matt in that center.
That's great.
You got some extra money because it was not very easy to do.
That's great. I love a challenge.
And if you've ever seen Matt bowl, you'll never forget it. It's a very unique style, but he's bowled that way since I remember him from the junior days, and he is a repeating machine.
Essentially, right? If you were to watch Matt bowl, you would say, okay, I'm willing to throw down my money because the look can be deceiving. He's such a great example of that.
Correct.
And his style.
It's the quirkiness leading up right up till the release, and then you watch it come off of his hand, and then you go, yeah, you're not beating that.
No,
you're not beating him.
I was fortunate enough to be there that day.
Oh wow!
I saw the whole thing. I saw it happen. Took some video of it. Wrote the story.
Yeah.
You know, that was one like, oh. You know, I remember calling Matt Cannizzaro, like, hey.
Yeah. You might want to get the cameras over here. You're not going to believe this.
Yeah, Matt's doing, Matt's doing X, Y, and Z. You know, he's got whatever he had at the turn. And then, you know, he's just still keeping track of both singles.
Back-to-back 800s, is that what was it?
Yes.
Yeah, that's just absurd. We were there. Happened to be there the year McNeil went crazy for the all events.
Which year?
But we set the record for all. Was it
2010?
Yeah, we were bowled that next day, so we happened to be there watching the singles and doubles. Yeah, that was.
You know what else is funny about that? We were both there the same day.
Yeah.
At the same time. I was coming in for I worked the night shift.
Okay.
And I just remember that the crowd had already formed.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, let me go here. Let me check out what's happening.
Check this out. Yep.
I'll know what to start thinking about. And
yeah, we always bowled for the longest time there when they bowled essentially the team in the day before we did. So we would always be in town to get to watch. And what was the year the scores went really big? Was that 14? We won the year that Zeno and them shot 3,700.
Like 13 or
14. Yeah. So when we left, we were in 7th. We had just beat McNeil's team score, and man, we thought we did something, right? We're gonna finish in the top 10. This is gonna be awesome. I think we finished like 16. I think we had like 34th, 38 that year. Thinking, man, we are something, right? We just crushed them.
Obviously, that wins any other year.
I think that might have been about probably the last 20 years. That's probably about a winning score in about 18 of them, maybe 17 of them.
Nick Tharp, bottom right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's 7th
Nice.
and barely wanted to
Good shot.
get off the deck. Let's go, Caden.
A little clap out too. Gotta
He's
like
still
that.
striking down there.
Yeah.
Got a nice break on the 4-pin and has really turned that into something here.
Yeah. Nice 6-bagger going.
Get you a nice quick book on Mr. Lewandowski. Mentioned Rose Bowl and packing, and multiple 300s, multiple 800s. You can see why.
Yeah, it's a really good shot.
Young man he's got the game. Would like to attend St. Ambrose. Well, Eric's done a great job there.
I like his chances. His game's good. I mean, and if I know Eric pretty well. Two-handed lefties, he likes them. He's got a whole fleet of them, I feel like, right now. That Cam Crow guy, he did all right for Eric down there. Yeah. He's got a chance to be okay someday.
And Cam, man.
Yeah. That's power.
We're just watching his ascend in these last few years.
Yeah.
Incredible.
And he's just such a nice guy. And when you're just talking to him, he's so charismatic. And if he ever gets going on tour, he's going to be a star. Like, I mean, like if he could get on TV and let that personality come through, I mean, it's going to be a rocket ship.
He's he's got the first part down.
Yeah, he's exempt. He's there.
Exemption.
Yeah. Yeah, shout out to Brandon Runk. That's here local now. He's exempt now as well. He led.
Yeah, he destroyed it.
The king of the Black Hammer, that's what I call him, man. He threw that thing for pretty much, was it 47 to 48 games? I think he threw pretty much Black Hammer. So, yeah.
Real quick, we were talking about players, as you see Jace get or have multifaceted players, I should say. Let's take a look at Abby Starkey, left of your screen. Derek said either a pro bowler, because he's also into gaming, or a pro esports player. Which is important to note simply because of just how esports is now really dominated our pop culture scene.
Absolutely.
Obviously, there's the gaming overall, but you know, video games are no longer just video games, right? It's still just a leisure hobby, certainly for kids, but now really into adulthood, you can be a pro.
Yeah. As a person that employs a lot of high school and college age students, having that conversation with them, hey, remember, you have to work in the morning tomorrow. Probably don't need to be online at 4 a.m. still playing video games. Okay. Yeah. We've had a few of those conversations.
Well, the machine, the scoring system suggested that Caden should have struck, and he should have.
Yes.
Was hoping that that pin got that treatment that it got a few frames ago.
Yeah.
Kringle knew that one was going right a little bit early. South Dakota.
Yeah, very, very solid game. Just getting obviously right here in front of the booth and fundamentally very sound.
And from Pierre, South Dakota. Look at Emily Kringle. Loves reading, listening to true crime.
Oh, all right.
Man, I love learning about these athletes and what interests them.
Yes.
Favorite bowler is Brianna Cote, 2023 U.S. Women's Open champion.
Macy Smedley, local, nice strike there. Working on a good game for her. She got 220 on the board going into 10th. Her older sister Callie, bowling at Hawkeye Community College here, was working last night at the restaurant when you came in. She was
okay.
Yep, she was there working.
About
so.
that.
Yep.
How about that?
Bowled these, the first two.
Okay.
Two obviously is aged out now,
Sure.
but yeah. Abby on 19, that's a really good shot. Stuffed a 9-pin on 20, and the last frame was probably just a board inside target and really stuffed it in there right up about 11. That one, once again, seeing people about 2 or 3 right on 19 compared to 20, it looks like. Looks like there must just be a little more friction there.
I'm going to have to remind myself to keep an eye on that on the short.
Yeah. Yeah, be anxious when they get closer if they're out by the gut or what that... maybe won't see it as much, but maybe that middle pattern, the medium length pattern tomorrow, you might notice a big difference. Ooh. Hopefully he can bounce back here.
I don't have a profile for Caden, but I'd love to try to learn more about him.
15U, I'm assuming he looks young.
He looks the part though.
Yes, he's got a real good game. Yes.
We're inching closer to finishing up game 5, folks. There will be a break, and we'll be back at it at 2 p.m. Central Time. Short pattern will be on the lanes. Yeah, this young man here.
Yeah. So just, wow. You see a lot of two-handers that have a lot of action going into the line. He's just very smooth, very quiet, just very subtle. You know, like a Simo. Yep. It's like an explosion at the foul line. Maybe let's go of it. And then you see a guy like Derek just smooth sailing in there like that.
Very Anthony Swanson-like in that regard, just from the quiet, two-handed perspective. Shoot, Jace, you can put him in that category as well. It's pretty impressive. Later this afternoon, we might have Matthew McConaughey join us. He's from the Youth Bowling Scholarship Foundation. I think Andy's got to work.
Luckily, I don't. Thank gosh.
For you.
Thank gosh, I don't have to work today. But
he's going to enjoy his Saturday with his family.
Yeah, absolutely.
Appreciate you hanging out this morning.
Oh, yeah, this is great. This is such a cool event and be a part of it. And I appreciate you letting me come up and hang out with you and talk some bowling. And it's fun. I really do enjoy it.
Okay, Bella.
Yeah.
You know, supportive parents, always a plus. Devin Taylor was hoping to get a little bit of a break there.
He's going for the outfit of the day. He's got the matching pants and shirts going. I respect that.
Oh, Lewandowski.
Yeah.
A little roll of the 2 forward.
3-pin? Did he roll a 3? Is that what he did?
3
there. Yeah. I knew what you meant.
I've mixed up my righties and lefties a couple times today.
It's all right. It's still early.
It is.
It's still early.
Yeah, I'm going to take that to the bank.
That's right. Macy broke up the split there on 22. Pretty good shot. Hopefully she can run that down, shoot 200. Be a nice little momentum going into the next block for her.
Speaking of next block, let's take a look at bowl metrics. See what we have updated for this pattern. Easton Taylor and U15 boys taking the lead at plus 46. Tatum Lee at plus 40. U15 girls. Leah Basevic still holding on strong. Basevic with 3 200 games.
Yeah, we had her here kind of in the vicinity, and she was just off camera. She throws the ball really nice.
Lana Jordan and U18 boys now at plus 125. His brother Griffin and second at plus 108. Jace Pint in front of us here bowling really well. He's third at plus 77. Quinn Thomas fourth at plus 70. Anthony Swanson fifth at plus 63. Starkey shot.
About 6'7" there at the arrows. Really rolling it smooth though, letting the ball kind of shape itself.
Speaking of Abby, and this is a really good sign too. Again, she's going to go into her strong point regarding short pattern, but I think it does help. She's able to play in her comfort zone where she would want to play and seeing the ball go through the front part of the lane from an angle wise pretty straight. And plus 77.
Yeah.
And going to look for more. In fact, she might lead the long pattern.
Yeah. And it might be one of these weird things. I bet there's more oil in the forward and even longer in the short pattern than what there is in the long pattern. How about that?
We need to take a look at that, actually.
Yeah.
I'll throw it up on the screen. We'll get your your diagnosis, if you will. It's like taking our car to the shop, get that diagnostics test, take it to Andy Belo, give it the old pattern diagnostics.
Hey, reading them's one thing. Throwing it on them's a whole different ballgame. I'm a lot better on this side of it than I am on that other side.
Nick Tharp, unfortunately, had a couple ones going to channel.
Wow. Derek is dialed in.
Let's see where Derek can get to.
Working on 279 going in the 10th here.
Well, Nick.
Yeah. When he keeps it on the lane, he is tough. He is good. Yeah, the last two, I mean, they just got away from him.
Not the highlight he was looking for.
No, but you've just seen it. Looks like he maybe got just a little quick, and the ball just got off his hand fast. And it's still 2.5 to 1. It's still, I mean, there's friction, and obviously we're seeing probably a little more scoring than maybe I even thought for the long pattern. But if you miss, that far right, especially in the front part of the lane, it's gone. It's not coming back.
Congratulations to young Caden. 244 to finish up the block.
It's a great game.
Let's see, puts him in the, it's a nice jump too. It's going to put him at minus 33. Okay. Good spot to be in, moving into the long pattern. Or I'm sorry, the short pattern. Lewandowski, by the way, can get to. He can get to plus, actually. If he can put 2 more in the 10th frame, that would move him to plus. Anthony Swanson going to be in the 250s with 1 more.
Yeah, making a big jump here. He was, about 8th, 10th, maybe 6th, 5th. Okay.
Plus 63.
Yeah, this would be a big jump.
It depends on obviously what Landon and Griffin do, but at least would put him in the race for the lead on the long pattern.
It looks like Landon whacked him again. As predicted by this booth 2 games ago that he was going to strike a lot. We really went out on a limb
Yeah, we really flirted with danger.
Yeah. It looks like 255 if I'm seeing that right on 27 there for Landon. So, yeah, that's going to put him up to about 180 over for this block. That's impressive.
27, 927?
Yes. 27, 28.
Let me refresh.
Yeah. I think he's done.
Yep, he is done.
Yeah. Looks like maybe 9 spare 7 in the 10th for Landon. Looked to get, he looked at about 260 going into the 10th, maybe.
Maybe 236. According to
yep.
Lane Talk.
Yes, you're right.
It is somebody shooting 250 though.
Yep.
Somebody shot 250 down there.
Yeah.
Well, Anthony Swanson still won't be able to catch him though.
Right. Yeah, lane 20 is giving Abby her little. It almost looks like maybe she feels like she's got to keep it on line.
Right.
And then just 4 pins on her. Big shot for Derek. Wow. That even kind of looked like that sat a little bit for him.
He reminds me a little bit of, and it might just be look, glasses of Brandon Bone.
Okay.
And obviously, the style part is not even close.
Right.
But I don't know. I watch him and I get Brandon Bone vibes, and that's a good thing.
That's. If you resemble a bone and throwing a bowling ball, you're in. You're doing something right.
He's just giving me that vibe.
Yeah. I was going to go a little Russo.
Yeah, a little bit.
A little bit.
278.
Great game.
And finish.
And a very, very well bowled game. I mean, right here in front of us.
And same thing for Abby Starkey.
Yeah,
wants to be on, do a little sports broadcasting in her future.
She's definitely charismatic. I think she'll have a chance, that's for sure.
Very good program at Nebraska to do that as well.
There you go.
Jace.
Oh, Jace. Yeah, all right.
Just wheel purple. You got, how many purples do you have?
0.
How about that? Oh, my gosh. Wow. Boy, that is just brutal ending to a game.
That's not very fair.
Wow.
Yeah.
So no purples for you in the back.
With my rev rate, I've never worked at it urethane enough where it just does not fit my eye. I just feel like everything hooks at my toe, and it's probably something that I need to maybe spend a little time and give it a shot and see. Especially with purple, I think obviously it looks like you see enough people shaping it that it's probably something that I could do. One of my teammates for Nationals, Jonathan Shallow, he throws the purple really well here. He's incorporated that into his game the last couple of years here, and that's probably inspiring me to do the same. So. Gianna's working on 250 down there, going into the 10th on 12. No surprise here that she's striking. Nice shot, Jace. 232. It's a real nice block for him. That gets him to about 100 over. I think he was at about 77 over going into that game. So I think anybody would. If you took him before the block started, told him he could be 100 over before you throw a ball, I think about everybody in the building would have took it.
Yeah, that gets him to 105.
Nice.
I'm sorry, 109, I beg your pardon. Plus 109.
Yeah, that's great. Well, I'll be anxious. I'm going to watch some of the short at home from the comfort of my recliner, if my 6-year-old will let me. Now, let me preface that. We may be watching.
Not on a Saturday.
We may be watching something else. Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see what what she has in store for me when I get home. But
you got a Saturday.
I will sneak in a little
with
bit.
a 6-year-old.
Yeah.
And you don't have to work.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if you're gonna be able to watch my phone. You might not even be in the house.
I can get her usually to watch bowling for about a half hour with me. So if I can do that, oh, geez, Austin, old, just another stone 8. Another one. Emily, good spare there. That keeps her in the 200s.
All right, folks, again, don't forget Bowl Metrics is the place you want to make sure you keep tabs on. Go ahead and bookmark that if you haven't already for the weekend. Keep track of standings. You can filter by block. So, of course, long pattern, short, medium tomorrow, etc.
Do we know what is the length on this short?
Oh, that's right.
I was just curious as to what
your diagnostics
35,
before we
37
go.
feet. Shot Emily.
Nice
Good,
finish.
great spot for a 4-9.
Nice
Fill ball
finish.
is the best time to leave a 4-9.
Good finish there for Emily. All right, so let us, let's get the Andy diagnostic here real quick.
Yeah, this is the blueprint, folks. Everybody listen up real close.
All right, short pattern. Here we go. No, that's not it. Not what I was looking for. Where is it? I downloaded them all. Hold on a second. Aha, there we go. Okay. It's 35 feet, 24 mils in total. On your screen coming up here shortly. And, all right.
Well, more oil in the forward than on the 50-foot pattern. At least farther down the lane, I should say. I shouldn't say more, but definitely, 27 feet, 8 feet above. That will help help a little shape. You're still going to have to throw it to the gutter. I mean, it's still going to be out around 3-4, I think. But, there is a little taper built into the pattern where you might see some people going 10-ish, 9-ish, maybe out to about 3-4. But I'm assuming most people are going to be throwing some surface up 3-4-5. I would imagine.
Does that ratio take you back at all? 1.96 to 1.
Yeah, 2 to 1 is.
Yeah.
I've always looked at once you get to below about 2.2, about every 10th. I feel like the pattern just plays that much harder. So getting underneath 1.96, this is going to be challenging. And I think the biggest thing is going to be spares. Spares on this short with that much friction.
Right.
Even with plastic, or if you those that use either resin and or urethane to shoot their spares, man, you're going to have to be real good. Execution's going to be tough, especially going across the left side. I feel like that's probably the newest thing. Everybody seems like they're getting really good going across the lane if you're right-handed with right side, left-handed left side. But then going across, shooting 4 pins and 7 pins if you're right-handed or buckets, that spare gets a whole lot tougher. Especially if you're not throwing plastic dead straight at it. So, but yeah, no, there's the fronts should hold up pretty well. That's a lot of 24 mils and all essentially in the first 20 feet of the lane. Shouldn't see a whole lot of super early hook at the arrows anyways. But yeah, that I'm anxious to see with I'm assuming a lot of urethane. What do we get some push? Are they shaping the urethane on the fresh right away, or are they getting on top of it and going up it, creating some hold? You could actually create a little hang if you start to shape it a little bit. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. I think you're gonna see some lower scores, especially. There's going to be some haves and have-nots. Probably some that really get after this pattern, and then there's going to be some. I would look for sure your lefties. I would, generally speaking, most lefties I think will hammer on this pattern pretty good. I would.
Yeah, that miss left or right.
Yes.
Depending on, of course, style, but on the when it's short in general, but in its flat, like that miss left is going to Very, very difficult.
Yeah, obviously is on top of the pattern is as tight of launch angle as you can get. Right, what your ball and what your game will allow is going to be pretty important for this. And it's I think you're gonna see some moving around in the leaderboard. I'd be anxious to see those in the top 5, top 10 in this. If they're coming off the long, can you either excel and use a pattern that a short pattern that you like, or a guy like myself, probably just trying to hang on for dear life and hoping that I can keep myself in the running going into the medium, tomorrow. So
right.
Yeah.
Well, Andy, I appreciate your time. Great stuff.
Always good to
Appreciate
see
your
you.
breakdown.
Always appreciate you coming and doing this, and it's just great. It's great for the sport, and hopefully it's something that we'll continue to do moving forward, and hopefully something you can be part of as well. We love having you here, and
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I love being here.
yeah.
Final shots being thrown on 11 and 12, folks. With that, I want to thank our sponsors, H5G, USBC, Greater Cedar Valley, Rotogrip, Experience Waterloo, ADS Recycling, the title sponsor this week. Of course, Cadillac XBC right here, Storm Evolution program. Shout out to Ben at the Hampton Inn. Fantastic rooms.
My teammate, Ben's my teammate. Good dude.
Real quick, Brandon told me that Ben holds a moniker for having the highest average
In the nation.
last year. 253?
3 point.
I'm like, what?
He bowled on Wednesday afternoons. He bowled with a couple buddies, so it was a 3-man league. And I could be wrong. I think he was only under 700 1 week.
Crazy.
And I can't even tell you how many honors.
I told you a story earlier about
Yeah.
me finally figuring out the surface so I can shoot 700 for the first time in a
Yeah.
while. Good Lord.
Yeah.
Well, shout out to Ben nonetheless.
Oh, man, it was.
That's
yeah.
great.
It was awesome. He got his award last year at our banquet, and it was pretty cool. Yeah, he's a heck of a bowler. So
Big thanks to the other place, as you see there, that is Andy's Spot. So make sure you check that out if you are local. The location on Ridgeway. Anything else you want to add to that?
yeah, and we do have 13 locations around the Midwest. We do have 5 in the Kansas City area, 2 in Des Moines, 1 up in Clear Lake, Iowa, which is a nice summer spot up there, nice lake town, and then we do have 5 here locally. Mine is just here in Waterloo, just not too far from Cadillac. You've got one close to your hotel. There's one just to block.
Oh, you're right.
Block up the road
You're
there.
right.
So yeah, but yeah, no, like I said, happy to be part of it. Happy to be sponsored and donating when I can and helping out. And hopefully everybody, I'm sure we'll see a bunch in there tonight for dinner. So
Absolutely. And
Cool.
the PBA Junior program as well. That's going to do it for us, folks. We'll see you back here at 2 p.m. Central Time. 2 p.m. Central Time for the short pattern. It's the Midwest Youth Main Event, brought to you in part by the Youth Bowling Scholarship Foundation. For Andy Belo, my name is Emil Williams Jr. Thank you to Mick, the GM here at Cadillac XBC, and the entire YBSF staff, including Matthew, Brandon, Leslie, Kelly, Ann, and everyone involved, of course, Brandon's team. My name is Emil Williams Jr. We'll see you in just a little bit. This has been a presentation of the long pattern here at the 2024 Midwest Youth Main Event. You watched it live and only on Bowlstream TV.